All right, we're going to pick up with the Schaefer-Cox trial transcript, day 20, Anchorage, Alaska, Monday, June the 11th, 2012. All right. Before the Dishonorable Robert J. Bryan, let's go down to where it starts. Call to order of the court at 8:48 a.m. Jury not present, all parties present. The court, counsel, the tech guys say they might be able to get this fixed in a half an hour or more or less. Do you want to wait or do you want to go ahead? Scrocky, we prefer to wait, Your Honor. Mr. Dooley, I think Mr. Scrocky and I both have something to bring up with you anyway in the meantime. The clerk, no, we can't be on the record. The clerk, no, we can't be on the record when they're doing this. Dooley, oh, we can wait. Is that the better plan, to wait for the tech? That's fine with us, Your Honor. Okay, tell the jury what we're doing. The clerk, yes, sir. Work as fast as you can and stay out of their way. Off the record. The clerk, all rise. His Honor, the court, the United States District Court for the District of Alaska. Did I say honorable? I meant His Dishonorable, the court. The Dishonorable District Court of Alaska is now in session with the Dishonorable Robert J. Bryan presiding. Please be seated. Okay. Somebody said you had a preliminary matter this morning. Mr. Dooley, Your Honor, I had two things I wanted to do, and one of them is I realized I had not made a proper offer of proof, but I'd like to do that in regard to the Ruby Ridge issue, just to make sure I've got it, and that is that if Coleman Barney testified as to Ruby Ridge, he would testify about his understanding of it. My understanding of the law is that his understanding does not have to be accurate at all. It could even be pretty wild, but it simply needs to be his understanding because it affects his state of mind as to whether he could be acting in self-defense or have the necessary intent to carry out murder. As a subnote of that, he has described to me what he thought of Ruby Ridge, and it sounds accurate, and he wouldn't be given a speech. He'd probably say two sentences concerning it, so that's my offer of proof on that. And what are the two sentences? Mr. Dooley, why don't you tell him so I'm not here saying my way through it? The defendant Barney. My understanding is that some people showed up at his place, they were shooting at his family, and that he didn't know who they were. They hadn't identified themselves. He fired back and actually killed a couple of them, and they turned out to be federal agents. Scrocky. Our position hasn't changed with respect to the Ruby Ridge issue, Your Honor, and from that, what he testified to, there's a total lack of foundation. Even though it might be his state of mind, it's not accurate. Foundational basis as to where he gets his information. Talk radio just doesn't cut it. The court. The dishonorable court. Well, the bottom line on this is that I think he should be allowed to testify under an instruction that clearly indicates it's not offered for the truth of the matter, but only for his state of mind. I hesitate, and I hesitated on the subject throughout because of minimal understanding of the details of that unhappy event. It's hard to believe that someone would act on such a sketchy background without knowing the details of that encounter. Hey, the details are, you son of Belial, is that they shot his wife while she was holding the baby. They shot his dog, and they shot, I think they shot other people. And so the fact that you're not allowing them to testify as to their state of mind is ridiculous. It's hard to believe that someone would act on such a sketchy background without knowing the details on that encounter. But I think Mr. Barney may testify in accord with the offer of proof only. And that's the one of those deals where the ties to the defense in terms of admissibility, okay? Anything else preliminary? Mr. Dooley, yes, sir. Yep. During the cross-exam of J.R. Olson, I used a number of certified exhibits of court cases to refresh his recollection of various people. He had never seen the documents before, but they are certified, and I think they are admissible as certified court records without the necessity of anybody identifying them. I don't know what exhibits you're talking about. That would be CB-J, and I put a new exhibit list up there somewhere. Mr. Dooley, CBJK, we took out L, CBM, NOP, QRST, defendant's exhibit, CBCB, whatever, the clerk. Well, CBM and N, this is the first time they're being identified. The court, somebody's talking. The clerk, that was me. This freaking judge, man. He said, somebody's talking. He can't even figure out who's talking because he's so deaf. Somebody's talking. Yeah, somebody's talking. Yeah, that's right, Judge. Yeah, somebody. That's what people do in court is they talk. The clerk, that was me. I was talking. I said CBMNN. This is the first time they've been identified. Scrocky. We would object to that, Your Honor. He was allowed to go into that extensively on cross-examination. Their underlying records, from what we can tell, there are several cases, and he's already inquired about an application for providing the underlying documents is not permitted by the rules, nor authorized, nor is it necessary, because he did not have ample chance to cross-examine on it. The court, the dishonorable court. Well, I agree with the government on this, Mr. Dooley. It's along with everything else that is at this stage in the game, I think would only confuse the jury, and it amounts to cumulative evidence of things that's already been covered, so the request is denied. Mr. Dooley, and one last item, is CB-ZZ as in Zulu Zulu. So that's a certified map of the North Pole area where KJNP is a property, a plot map. Scrocky, I'm not sure what is being offered for, or if it's being offered with respect to, and I'm not sure what a certified map is actually. The court, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it is. Mr. Dooley, okay, I think there's no objection. But did you still want to see them? I need you in front of a microphone, please. I can't hear you. Yeah, I know the judge can't hear because he's deaf and he's senile. The clerk, Mr. Dooley, I can't hear you. The court, I think these are not maps of aerial photographs with the survey marks on them. But what? I'm sorry, Judge, what was your question? The court, what's your position on it? We don't object to those that you're holding. The court, oh, in your hand, sir? All right. We worked it over, but behind the table, we took out stuff. Pardon? We took out some items that were, all right, a problem? Okay, fine. One question having to do with the jury instructions is I have a lot more questions we'll get to. But Mr. Scrocky, is it your position that a launcher with a hornet's round nest is a matter of law, a destructive device? Mr. Scrocky, yes, it is. The court, you look to her and she nods and you answer? Well, we're both she's got the lead on the instructions piece, Your Honor, so I want to make sure I'm not. The court, all right, misstating it. I just wanted to be sure that was your position. Scrocky, yes. We'll find out in due course what my position is. Okay. Your Honor, is CBZZ admitted? Yes. Mr. Dooley, thank you. All right, I guess Mr. Barney is still on the witness. Yes, sir. Mr. Scrocky, yes. So you can resume the stand and ask the jury to come in, please. Coleman Barney, defendant, resumes the stand. Scrocky, I have one quick matter on, Your Honor. Oh, wait a minute. Mr. Scrocky, Mr. Dooley works a lot later than we do. We got about 13 clips last night between 11:30 and midnight, and so we've looked at them this morning as best we could. I just want you to know that we'll be objecting to a lot of them on various reasons, and some we may not, but we just didn't get those until late last night, and it might be kind of bumpy in terms of dealing with them as we go through the process. The court, okay, my apologies for staying up late and sending them late. So Mr. Dooley's apologizing for working hard. That's great. The court, all right, bring in the jury, please, side conversing. The court, okay, sorry to keep you waiting this morning, folks. The technology died on us, and it took most of the last hour to get that repaired, and then we took care of some matters relating to admissibility of evidence, and you should know that exhibit marked CBZZ has been admitted. That is, I think it will be further identified for you, but it is an aerial photograph map of the area around KJNP. All right, Mr. Dooley, thank you. You still have the floor, I believe. Direct examination continued. For identification, I put your screen CB-AA. Is that an accurate representation? Yes, of what? That's an accurate representation of the Esther Cabins properties that I own. Okay, now I put up CB-DD. Is that an accurate representation of one or more cabins or what? Yes, that's the living room kitchen area where a bunch of construction still going on. Was that the way it was at the time of March the 1st? Yes. And CB-EE, what is that? That's the same kitchen living room area, the island with a bunch of tools and parts, and that's accurate of what it looked like on March 1st. And now CB-FF, just another picture of another cabin with the island, the way it looked on March 1st as well. All right, Mr. Dooley, I move the admission of CB-AA-DD-BB-DFF. Scrocky. Our only objection would be that those, I believe, it sounds like FF is not a cabin that he has in respect to the context of direct exam, Mr. Cox and Mr. Olson. If it's Mr. Dooley, the one I have up, Scrocky. If it's not that cabin, it's not relevant. The court. Well, I think these exhibits may be admitted. Mr. Dooley. Okay, that's CBDDEEFFAA. Correct. Let me see if I can do it. Okay, and we have the lights. Mr. Dooley, look at CBAA, and what was your purpose in wanting this shown? I'm sorry, say that again. What was your Scrocky? Objection, leading. What was your purpose? What was your purpose in having this shown? The court overruled just to show out the lay of the cabins and their 2 stories. Okay, and all of the cabins different or what? All of them are the same. The ones that I own, the ones that that's different, but that's the one that my parents own. Okay, you're looking at CBDD. What does that show us? That just shows us all the construction work that were going on in these cabins, and on that day we were just trying to get all the tools, all the construction materials out and get it cleaned up enough for pictures to get it on Craigslist. And CB-EE, what we're looking at here, the same thing, just the island, just a bunch more tools, construction material and whatnot, and that we were all getting that cleaned up. CB-FF, what is this? Just another cabin. All the cabins were pretty much full of construction material and tools. They all had that. And so we were trying to get them cleaned up as possible. The particular picture is of the cabin we're working on that day or what? This particular one is not. Okay, during this time, where were you most of the time? I was a little bit everywhere. I went down and talked with Adam quite a bit. He was down in one of the lower cabins putting up trim and getting one of the lower cabins ready. I was upstairs in the cabin a lot of time that both Gerald Olson and Schaefer were in, cleaning the upstairs while they were cleaning the downstairs, getting the upstairs ready and making pictures of that. And then I was in and out getting stuff out of the trailer, bringing some cleaning supplies, and then later on we all went and got the fridge and arranged and unpacked them and brought them and plugged them in. Mr. Dooley, and now I need to hand out some transcript books. Would you help me? And we're talking about, I'm sorry, Tim, can I get one as well? Or, oh, you want one? Oh, yeah. We're looking at CBSS, and you had this opportunity to review the transcript and the audio on this? Yes, I have. The court, I'm sorry, the number again, CBSS, all right. And is the audio fairly accurate as you recall? Yes. Mr. Dooley, I moved to enter CBSS Scrocky, no objection. Dooley, okay. And when and where was this? Where was this audio done? This was in one of the cabins on March the 7th out in Esther. What date? March 1st, 2011. All right, CBSS may be admitted. Dooley, and I'll play it now. Audio recording. Now, you were present in the room during the portion of that conversation. I remember coming downstairs at about this time. Audio played. Now, who is talking when it said that would be $200 cash right now? The transcripts say Mr. Cox, but that is me. Okay, and tell us what kind of movement you were doing. What were you coming from and to? I was coming downstairs, bringing stuff downstairs, getting ready to throw out stuff out on the porch. Okay, audio played. Now, when you're talking about when you said we can't give them a whole lot of more money and we're getting them for free at Wainwright's, tell us what that means. After we heard about this rumor that there was 8 grenades missing from Wainwright, and the rumor was that Schaefer Cox had supposedly snuck into a Wainwright and got those 8 grenades, we were constantly joking about them. And so this is me just making some more lame jokes. You know, he says Bill Fulton's bringing down 25. I'm just joking, obviously, and I say, tell him we'll give him $200 cash for it. I mean, then I make the thing, we can't give him a whole lot more than that when we're getting them for free out of Wainwright. Okay, now we're sort of doing a cleanup here, and I would like to ask you some sort of disjointed questions from one question to another. After the trial at Denny's, what did you know about $2 million judgment as a result of the trial at Denny's? At that time, I didn't know anything. When did you learn something? I think I got an email like February 11th, 2011, and I think I didn't really know about what the email was about, but February 12th at Ken's bus, he was just kind of spent like an hour and a half going through all the paperwork, and then he had filed in court, and at that time I learned more about it. Oh, okay, was Denny's a militia thing or an Assembly Post thing? That was an Assembly Post thing. What is your understanding of the Assembly Post? My understanding of the Assembly Post is that they're a sovereign type movement and that want to work more a local level rather than opposed to one that Ken was involved in that was trying to work more on the national level. Okay, now when you all were meeting on February the 19th at Ken Thessing's bus, who all brought up 2 for 1 the most? That would have been February the 12th. Sorry, February 12th. On February 12th, Schaefer Cox went around and wanted to get everybody's ideas on it, their thoughts on it. It was a conversation of what our thoughts were, but Gerald Olson was the one who he wanted to know about it the most. Scrocky. Objection, hearsay. Mr. Dooley, just stop right there. The court. Well, Mr. Dooley, now. The court. The objection to the last answer is sustained. And have you reviewed CBQQ3, the transcript and the tape? Yes. And is the tape accurate? Yes. I moved to enter CBQQ3. If we could just have a moment, yeah. Scrocky, is this the one of those from the last night, Mr. Dooley? I'm not sure. I sent you all the stuff that I think I've sent in the past, but I wasn't sure about it. CBQQ3, right. That's it. It's the 2-page transcript, Mr. Dooley? Yes. Scrocky, could I void dire the witness? Sure. Mr. Barney, the exhibit CPQ33 is a 2-page segment of a conversation in the bus on February 12th. Yes. The conversation was 6 hours long, was it not? That conversation was about 3 hours long. 3 hours long? Yeah. And this is just 2 pages to that 3-hour conversation? Yes. Scrocky. Your Honor, I have an objection to the form of the question. This is certainly not the entire transcript of the 3 hours or so conversation, but I guess as far as the exhibit goes, I don't object to it. It's actually our transcript. Yeah, I think it may be admitted. Mr. Dooley, CB-QQ3, Judge. Yeah, and I'll play it now. I hope. Audio played. Mr. Dooley, moving to CBQQ5. Mr. Barney, have you read the transcripts or listened to the audios? Yes, I have. Is the audio at least fairly accurate? Yes. And this took place when and where? February 12, 2011 at Ken Thessing's bus. Was it this within the same 3-hour talk? Yes. All right. Mr. Dooley, I moved to enter CBQQ5. No objection. It may be admitted. Audio played. The court, just a minute. Unidentified jury. Can we get headsets? The court, can they have their amplifiers? The clerk, everybody have one on the jury that needs one? The court, the back row. How many do I need? Everybody set, audio played. Mr. Dooley, where did the people stand? Where did people stand on 241? It was discussed for one, the guys in the militia wouldn't see it as enough. Scrocky calls for hearsay, and I'm not sure who's talking about what. The court, yeah, Scrocky at this point. The court, yeah, the objection is sustained. Rephrase the question, please. Dooley, did Ken Thessing support any 241? Scrocky calls for hearsay. The court, no, I think he may answer it. No. Did Schaefer Cox support any 241? Scrocky, that calls for hearsay. Dooley, it's an operative fact, non-hearsay. The court, objection is sustained. I should say that it's the dishonorable court. Mr. Dooley, did you support 241? No. CBQQ7, before I move on, did anybody support 241? Yes, who? Gerald Olson. Have you read the transcript and listened to the audio of CBQQ7? Yes. Is the audio accurate? Yes. Mr. Dooley, I move to enter into evidence CBQQ7. Traversal, no objection. Hayden, no objection. The court, it may be admitted. No objection. Audio played. Mr. Dooley, Mr. Olson mentioned Ruby Ridge. What was your understanding of the events at Ruby Ridge? That Mr. Weaver at his house and him and his family were there. Some people showed up, didn't identify themselves, started shooting at his family members and killing them. Randy Weaver fired back and actually killed a couple of those individuals. Came to find out were federal agents. The court, this is the dishonorable court, Robert J. Bryan. Ladies and gentlemen, you should understand that Mr. Barney's testimony about his understanding of Ruby Ridge is offered only for his understanding. It's not offered for the truth of what may have happened there. On your screen should CB-D, is that CB-D on your screen? I can't, it looks like it. The tag is so dark though, I can see D at the end of it, but okay, trust me. Okay, what are we looking at here? We're looking at a tax return for my company, Mammoth Electric. All right. Now, people have mentioned the sovereign citizens or sovereign citizen movement. What is your understanding about the payment of taxes by sovereign citizens? It is they denounce their citizenship and they no longer pay taxes. Okay, have you discussed this concept of sovereign citizenship with people? Yes, I have. Okay, are you a sovereign citizen? No, I was intrigued. I knew people that were going through the process of filing out their paperwork, but I never became one. All right, and is this an accurate reflection of your corporation's income tax for 2010? Yes, this was actually, we got an extension and got this done around, okay, I'm going to stop here on page 26. I'm going to take a break. Page 26. Yes, this was actually, we got an extension and got this done 2000. We actually got it done about 2011 in September when the extension was due. Okay, I moved the admission of exhibit CBD, Scrocky. We object as to 1, the relevance of testimony for itself. If the taxes are admitted to the court should remove the financial figures contained therein. That's not relevant. I think it's a needless exhibit and should be rejected. Dooley. Okay, well, we'll try this one anyway. Looking at CBE, and what is that? That's my personal income tax for 2010. Is it accurate? Yes. And you filed it? Yes. Okay, Mr. Dooley, I offer CBE, the individual tax return. We have the same objection, Your Honor. The court, I think it should be rejected. The testimony stands as sufficient. Dooley. And I should assume the objection and ruling would be the same for similar documents. The court. I would expect so. All right. Mr. Barney, what other documents do you pay for? What kind of memberships or licenses, and what do you have to? Ms. Crockett, Your Honor, I'm not sure about the relevancy of this line of inquiry. We went over that extensively earlier on in direct. Dooley, excuse me, or maybe offer a proof, I guess, as to what he's trying to. Mr. Dooley, the sovereign citizen business is why this is relevant. The court, no, he may answer. Mr. Dooley, in order to have Mammoth Electric, I got to have multiple licenses. I have to have a city license to run my company there in Fairbanks. I got to have an Alaska business license, an electrical administrator's license, an electrical journeyman's license, and I still retained my Social Security card, and I had a U.S. citizen passport, and the government seized at the time of arrest. Okay, new topic. Did you have any concerns about Bill Fulton or Aaron Bennett? Yes. What were your concerns? Aaron Bennett, there was a worry. This is hearsay. Just what was your worry? My worry is that while I was around Schaefer, that if we saw Aaron Bennett, there could possibly Scrocky. I'm gonna object. It calls for hearsay. No, it doesn't. What was your worry? Scrocky, it's going to come from hearsay, a hearsay source. The court, you can ask about a state of mind. Don't tell us about somebody else's state of mind. Dooley, I was worried that if I was with Schaefer while we were trying to get him out of town and we came in contact with Aaron Bennett, there might be a situation where Schaefer's life and possibly my life could possibly be in danger if I was with Schaefer at the time. Now turn to CBCCC1 if you would in your book. Say that again. 3 C's, okay, and it's number 1 you reviewed. Have you reviewed the transcript? I have. And the audio? Yes. Is the audio accurate? It is. Were you present at this conversation? I was. This is on February 19th, 2011. And where? This is at my house with Ken Thessing was there, Lonnie and Karen Vernon, Gerald Olson, Schaefer, myself. People talking here, do they reflect your frame of mind? Yes. I moved to enter CBCCC1. It's all hearsay. Scrocky. It's all hearsay. Dooley, if I may suggest, it's admissible hearsay under 803.3 and 1. The court, the objection is well taken. The exhibits refused. Mr. Dooley, all right, I have other exhibits. I'm going to try to make a record here. Affirmative. CBCCC2, you read the transcript? I have. Audio, yes. Accurate, yes. Were you present for this? I was. Duly, I offer CBCCC2. We have Scrocky. Here comes Scrocky again. We have the same objection. It's a statement by Ken Thessing, and it's hearsay. And I will say, if hearsay, it is admissible under 803.3. But for the record, he's already testified as to his state of mind. Well, the objection is well taken as to CBCCC2, and it too will be refused. Mr. Dooley, CBQQ10. Have you read the transcript and listened to the audio? Yes. Audio accurate? Yes. All right. Mr. Scrocky, hang on, Mr. Dooley. Mr. Dooley, Mr. Scrocky, if you're looking, there should be a number 10 in the upper right on a yellow sheet of paper. Scrocky, yeah, I think I found it. Thank you. Dooley, okay, we have the same objection, Your Honor. Scrocky. The court, I'm sorry, same ruling. Mr. Dooley, all right. Question, Mr. Dooley. Let me just go ahead. You've read the transcript and listened to the audio. CBQQ11. Defendant's exhibits CBQQ11 identified. Yes. And why don't we go ahead to CBUU? Have you read the transcripts and listened to the audio of that? Just to make it quicker, the clerk, CBUU, is the video that was previously admitted. Mr. Dooley, it was. The clerk, affirmative. We'll have to come up with a new thing here. I'm not finding CBUU. It's not in my transcript book. Oh, I goofed up. I will get to that another time. Mr. Dooley, but CBQQ1, is the audio accurate on that? Yes. And I moved the admission of CBQQ1 as state of mind. We have the same objection, Your Honor. The same ruling on this, it should be refused. Tell us what your attitude was or state of mind was toward Bill Fulton. Scrocky, may I query the witness and void Dyer before he answers this for foundation? Mr. Dooley, I don't mind. The court, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Scrocky. Void Dyer by Mr. Scrocky. Did you ever meet Mr. Fulton? No. Did you ever speak with Mr. Fulton? No. Do you even know what he looks like before this case started? No. The information you received about Mr. Fulton came from other people, did it not? Yes. And from Schaefer Cox primarily? Yes. And maybe Lonnie Vernon? Possibly. Have you ever spoke with him personally? No. Mr. Scrocky, lack of foundation in anything he responds to is hearsay. Dooley, no, it's his understanding, his feelings about Mr. Fulton. Mr. Dooley, how they arose. The court, I think he may answer, but you're asking his feelings about. Mr. Dooley, right. The court, Mr. Fulton, not what Mr. Fulton is going to do, or he might do. Okay, direct examination continued. Mr. Dooley. My feelings about Bill Fulton was that he was kind of a wild card. What's that mean? Somebody who was always looking to push for a fight, always trying to push people into an instigation with the government? Your feelings about Aaron Bennett? Just that if I was with Schaefer, if the two of them ever came into contact together and I was with Schaefer, that it could potentially end up being a dangerous situation. Okay, let's move on to payroll. Did you have concern about payroll? Yes, I did. Okay, have you received CBAA transcript and audio? Yes, I have. And the audio accurate? Yes. Okay, Mr. Dooley. And I offer CBAA into evidence. Scrocky, Your Honor, we object on the basis that it's a prior consistent statement. He's already testified to this fact, and anything Agent Westerhouse states is hearsay, but in any event, it's prior consistent statement and not authorized for admission. Dooley, and I suggest it's not hearsay under 801D2. The court, no, the objection is well taken. CBAA will be refused. Dooley, and then CBBB is only audio. Have you listened to the audio of that? Defendant's exhibit CBBB identified. Yes, I have. Mr. Scrocky, I'm sorry, Mr. Dooley, which one? There's 3B, CBBBB. I'm sorry, I'm not finding it. Hayden, BBBBB, Dooley, right. There's no transcript, it's just an audio. Oh, I'm sorry, just a second. Dooley, and I think I can tell you it's Scrocky. I believe I've got it. It's referencing Mr. Marchbanks. Dooley, right. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. And I'll offer CBBBB. Do you have no objection? Oh, we have the same objection. It's prior consistent statement. It's the same subject matter relating to the payment that was, I guess, the same. Scrocky, topic as the prior exhibit, Judge. I don't have it before me. If that's what it covers, the objection is well taken. This has been covered adequately by oral testimony without the exhibit. The clerk, Judge, can you pull your microphone towards you a little bit? The court, did you get what I said? The last time, barely. Okay. These are taped by the government. I think that they have trustworthiness for that reason. Scrocky, BB wasn't taped by our investigation. No, it. Mr. Dooley, well, it was taped by the jail. The court, well, look here, guys. Look here, you guys. I don't have it in front of me. If it's the same subject matter regarding concern over payroll, it can be covered orally without an exhibit. If it's something else, I need to look at it, okay? I need to know what it says. Mr. Dooley, so that's refused? The court, well, based on the information I have now, it's refused. Mr. Dooley, let me just take a moment. I may have covered almost everything. The witness, can I talk about that call? Or, Mr. Dooley, did you make efforts with your wife? What did you do with your wife to try to get Adam Marchbanks paid? Scrocky, I have to object, Your Honor. We went over this Thursday. It's repetitive. The court, I'm not sure this specific question was asked. I think he may answer it. My first phone call to Rachel when I was talking to her from jail, I let her know that I didn't get the money in the bank. Tell Adam not to cash the check. It will bounce, and we'll have to figure out another way to get him paid. And when you were in police custody during an interview on March 10th, what did you attempt to do to get Adam Marchbanks paid? Scrocky, objection, leading and irrelevant. Mr. Dooley, what did he attempt to do? No, Dooley, to get Adam Marchbanks paid. He may answer. Mr. Dooley, I just wanted to know what I have to do to get my guys paid. If I'd have to do that through a lawyer, or how I'd have to go getting that done. Do you have some concerns about international? What kind of concerns do you have on international stage that you thought relevant to the United States? At the time, this was Ken Thessing's bus, February 12, 2011. At the time, there was a lot of stuff going on in Egypt. Food prices, their economy was such that there was a lot of people out protesting, and that when their government was coming in and trying to put an end to the protesting, it ended up kind of a violent situation there because their economy was in such a bad turmoil. And I was worried that it starts to happen more and more. It could possibly happen more and more across the world, that we might eventually see that in our country with the economy collapse of the economy and people out just protesting about it. Any concerns about what did you understand about police activity in Egypt? There were, in order to put stop to the protesting and stuff, they tried to clear the areas where they were protesting. There were several people that were beat up and harmed. There was even people that were killed over it. Okay, and you had thoughts about how you would handle that if it happened in the United States? Like I said, I'm not saying that I thought that it would happen, but I thought it could happen in America if we had an economic collapse and that and I made a stupid comment. I said, yeah, we could bluff our numbers, and other things you could do is you could go out, and if that happened here, you could go out and you could put those little bullseye stickers on the backs of cops' cars and stuff, and that would make them think twice. Think twice about what? About, like some of the events that happened in Egypt, if they were to just go and start, or because of economic collapse and stuff, if they were to just start going and rounding people up or beating people up, or some of the events that we're seeing, and they're going in Egypt because of economic collapse. After the Judge Quavar speech by Schaefer Cox, just very quickly remind us how you felt about that. Shocked, took back, very uncomfortable. Okay, what did you do to try to address that with Schaefer Cox? I approached him about it, and I talked to him about that issue. Okay, did you say something that affected the way you thought about Schaefer Cox and the Judge Quavar speech? Okay, did he say something that affected the way you thought about Schaefer Cox and the Judge Quavar speech? He did. And what was that? Mr. Scrocky, objection, hearsay. The court sustained. Dooley, other than the offer of proof that item, we're done. The court, all right. We're out of kilter here, but we'll take 10 minutes, folks, for our morning break. Hold on just a second. Somebody page me. Okay, you can make offer of proof. Yes, Your Honor. If permitted to answer, Mr. Barney would have stated that Schaefer Cox explained that in his speech. He had said there are people out there who want to, shoot you at night rather than talk to you during the day, and that Schaefer Cox explained that he was talking about Bill Fulton and Aaron Bennett that changed his way about thinking about Schaefer. The court, well, there are two things there. One is what Mr. Cox said, and the objection is sustained as to that. The fact that after a discussion with Mr. Cox, he changed his views in a different question, and that is probably admissible, all right. Is there anywhere, are we going to go with Mr. Barney now? Do other defendants have questions of him, or do we go directly to Mr. Scrocky? Traversal, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. The clerk, I can't hear you. Traversal, I'm going to ask a few questions. The court, should that come before cross? Yes, please. Okay, all right. We'll do that after we take a short break here. All rise. This matter stands in brief recess. All rise. His dishonorable, the court, the dishonorable district court is again in session. Okay, bring the jury in. Mr. Dooley, in your honor, I was going to ask that one last question, all right? The court, all right, Mr. Dooley. Mr. Dooley, back in time to the speech Schaefer Cox gave in Judge Quavar's court, did you eventually have a different understanding of what you had originally thought? Yes, I did, and after that understanding, I suggested that we needed to get with Burt Barack and captain of the troopers in Fairbank and talk to him. Okay, and what was your understanding? Scrocky, that calls for hearsay. The court sustained. No further questions. You see what's going on here? Anytime Dooley tries to get anywhere close to the truth, Scrocky objects on hearsay. The court, Mr. Traverso, thank you. Traverso, on cross-examination. You were upset with Schaefer's comments made in the clerk. Can you pull the microphone closer, please? I'm sorry. Traverso, my mom always says I talk too loud. But you were upset with Mr. Schaefer's comments in front of Judge Quavar, correct? Yes. And did you pull him aside and talk to him about it? Yes. And after you pulled him aside, were you satisfied with any of the concerns that you might have had? I was satisfied with his answer, but my concern was that he needed to let other people know because they didn't understand his statement. Okay, you thought it was imperative that you contact Trooper Barack? Somebody in the troopers, he suggested Captain Barack. Captain Barack, okay, how many times from February 12, 2011 to March 10, 2011 did the subject of 241 come up from J.R. Olson? Give me the first date again. From February 12, 2011 to March 10, 2011. How many times did J.R. Olson bring up the subject of 241? From March 12, 2011 until March 10th, it came up right around 30-something times. But it came up from March 12th through March 19th, after March 19th. Well, excuse me, are you saying March or February? You said March 12th and March 19th. Oh, I'm sorry. After it came, Mr. Scrocky, I'm going to object to this form of questioning, and I need the foundation of the witness as to whether he's heard them in conversations he was present with, or these are just conversations he's heard. If it's the latter, it's hearsay. Traversal asked him how many times it was brought up. The court. The objection is that the question should be how much it was brought up when Mr. Barney was present. Okay. How many times did Mr. Olson, when you were present, bring up the subject of 2-for-1 from February 12th, 2011 to March 10th, 2011? From March 12th, 2011, it came up not always in the form of 2-for-1, but what-if scenarios. Mr. Scrocky. Objection, non-responsive. Sustained. How many times did J.R. Olson on February 12th, 2011 to March 10th, 2011 bring up the subject of what do we got to do if Schaefer gets caught? Approximately, or my guesstimate is around 30-something times, but it didn't come up after March 19th at my house. Are you saying March 19th, February 19th at my house? After February 19th, the subject didn't come up for 3 weeks until the date we were supposed to meet Han Solo. There was 3 weeks that there was no conversation of 2-for-1. Okay, I'm not speaking of just 2-for-1, but his response. What do we got to do if Schaefer gets caught? Scrocky. Objection. Question. Is there something? Scrocky. Calls for hearsay. I guess my question is, was there something that he kept asking you about? What do we got to do if Schaefer gets captured? Yes. How many times did he bring that up? Approximately around 30-something times is my guess. Thank you. Now, was it your understanding that if Schaefer got caught, that there was supposed to be violence at the moment by the militia? No, thank you. Mr. Traversal, no further questions. Ms. Hayden, no questions. The court, all right, Mr. Scrocky. Mr. Scrocky, good morning, Mr. Barney. Good morning. Oh, no. The Mormon Barney is going to be cross-examined by Scrocky. Good morning, Mr. Barney. Good morning. You've listened to all the audio tapes? Yes, I have. And thus read all the transcripts, most of them. Several times in some places, yes. Affirmative. Affirmative. And this is a selection of exhibits that some of them you talked about this morning, just these? Yes. You were asked a few moments ago some questions about your concerns with the international scene in these 2-for-1 discussions. Remember that? Yes. And you were worried about Egypt? That was one of the things, yes. That's what you said? Yes. And there were other concerns being held in Egypt. They were just out, from what I recall, is that they were in a public square and stuff, and they were just going into everybody who was gathering. They were using Twitter and Facebook and ways to organize and to get better and to get together to protest. And who was the president of Egypt? I'm not sure who the president was. I remember he was asked to step down, though. Do you recall it was Hosni Mubarak? Remember that name? Yes. And that was a pro-democracy movement, wasn't it? Yeah, pro-democracy, yes. Yes, my understanding, though. That's enough. They were looking for a system kind of like ours, weren't they? Yes. We're going to cover this in a lot more detail later on, but you were asked some questions about this off-the-cuff comment Mr. Cox made in front of George Quavar in her court on December, was it 12th? I believe it was December the 10th. December the 10th, and you recall Sarah Thompson's testimony, don't you? Yes, I do. She testified that Mr. Cox turned around and said all of these people here and pointed to them, and that's what caused her concern. Do you recall her saying that? Yes, I do recall her saying that, yes. There was no mention of Aaron Bennett, was there? No. There was no mention of Bill Fulton, was there? No. Mr. Cox pointed to the people in the gallery, didn't he? I don't recall him pointing to the people in the gallery, but I remember having the same concern that she did, thinking that, we were all kind of being referenced in that. That's what brought back my shock as well. Affirmative. And so you were shocked enough that you went and talked to Mr. Cox about going to meet Burt Bragg, yes? You never did that, did you? We did. Did you? No. So you didn't, right? No, I didn't. I didn't know. So your conscience was shocked enough that you made this recommendation and you didn't talk to anybody in the troopers, did you? We attempted to. You didn't do it, did you? No. You never made contact, did you? I did not, no. You didn't go down to the trooper headquarters on Pegger and go talk to somebody, did you? Schaefer made contact and I'm asked to meet with him. I'm asking you what you did. I did not myself know. Okay, there's a trooper as part of your ward, correct? There's a trooper in your church? There's a trooper in my church, yes. You could have talked to him about this, but you didn't. No, I didn't. So, Mr. Barney, you're a major in Mr. Cox's militia, aren't you? Yes, still are, correct? There's really no militia, but sure. I'm going to ask you what I asked Mr. Brockman. If you walked out of court today and he gave you an order, would you carry out an order? No. Are you testifying based on his order here today? I'm sorry, could you rephrase the question? Are you testifying based on an order from Mr. Cox under the militia's command here today? No. When did you join the APM? It was January of 2010? January of 2010. Scrocky, could we pull up Exhibit 488, please? And if we could have the lights, Madam Clerk. This is Exhibit 488 that's already been admitted. Do you recognize yourself in that photo? Yes, I do. When was that taken? Do you recall? I believe it's the summer of 2010. I couldn't tell you the month, though. And so you're here on the right-hand side, yes. Mr. Cox is next to you, Mr. Thessing, and Mr. Brockman, yes. And at the time frame, was this the time frame of the 3,500 member militia? Like I said at the training, I'm just asking you if this is the time frame, whether this is a 3,500 member militia. Okay, I'm going to stop here on page 51 for day 20. All right, let's start with page 51, see if we can get a few pages down the road here. There was never a 3,500 member militia? Okay, so when Mr. Cox would tell people that there were 3,500 in your militia, 3,500 members in your militia, that was a lie. He always says he's referring to the amount of people that were in the Second Amendment Task Force and some of these other groups, but yes, there was no 3,500 men militia. Okay, so never bothered to explain that to anybody to your knowledge, did he, in public or in the speeches we've heard here in court? No, it was more of a ride. He didn't go on about Montana. Traverso. Can he finish the answer, Your Honor? He's interrupting the witness. He was trying to answer the question. The court, I think the witness is going beyond the question asked. So try and just limit your answers to the questions asked. The witness, okay. The court, okay. Scrocky. So in these speeches that we heard there in court, Mr. Cox never says, oh, by the way, 3,500 members includes the Liberty Bell, Assembly Post, the Second Amendment Task Force, does he? No, and he never went out of your way to correct that, did you? And you never went out of your way to correct that, did you? No. Mr. Scrocky, if we could dim the lights for a jury, please, and if we could have Exhibit 879. Do you see the exhibit we have there on the screen, Mr. Barney? Yeah, I do. Do you recall reading that in the paper, sir? Yeah, and it's dated April 11th of 2010? Okay. Does that appear to be a page of a posting and screen capture from a News Miner article about yourself and your photo that's there in Alaska Peacemakers Militia? Yeah. And you recall reading that, correct? Yeah. Do you want to see the additional pages that we have? Scrocky, why don't we go down and show those next ones to Mr. Barney? We'll give him a second to read that. Yeah, I do recall reading this. Okay, let's go to page 3. Yeah, Mr. Scrocky, 4 and 5, yeah. Okay, this is something that was in the Fairbanks Daily News Miner in April 2010. Yeah, is that accurate? We offer 879, duly object hearsay. Traverso, it's hearsay, Your Honor. Scrocky, it's a public newspaper article. It's not hearsay, and it goes to the background of the militia at that time, in Fairbanks at that time. Traverso, there are the court. Well, there's no Traverso statements represented throughout the article, Your Honor. The court, it's hearsay unless its truth is established. Scrocky, the next page, please. Okay, I'll have to withdraw it. The photo that's on the article, Mr. Barney, was the one we just previously showed you on 488, correct? Yeah, so that was on the front page of the article? Yes, it was. You have spoken, have you not, at Over the Coffee Cup at KJNP? Yes, I have. And at least on one occasion, correct? Yes. When was that? December of 2010. Scrocky, could we have Exhibit 209-2? That's an admitted Exhibit 209-2, Mr. Barney, which came out of your home. Can you see those notes there, sir? Yes, and is that your handwriting? Yes, it is. And so those are notes you made with respect to that speech. Give me just a second to read it and make sure. Sure. Honestly, I don't know if this is something that I talked about over the coffee cup. It could have been, but I believe this is something that in preparation for something I spoke somewhere. Affirmative. All right, fair enough. What I want to turn your attention is the upper line here up at the top. Do you see that? And I've circled there. It says our government. Yes. Can you read that for me? Our government is not operating by any rule of law. Instead, it's operating by rule of force. It sounds like something Schaefer Cox has said, doesn't it? Yes. You, and over the course of your relationship with APM, you were a major in Mr. Cox's militia. We've established that, so you would follow his orders, correct? I would, yes. APM had a strict rule. You either follow the orders or you turn in your shirt. But let me ask you this. I understand you might want to have more to say. Let me ask you this. You had to obey Mr. Cox's orders by APM mandate, didn't you? Or leave, yes. Or leave, yes. And you never left, right? No. Never resigned your commission? No. Never thought about resigning your commission, did you? Yes. Okay, we'll get to that. And so you had to obey these orders because that's the APM's manual and APM rules were, correct? Yes. Or leave, yes. So that left no room for an individual conscientious objection to rules received from Mr. Cox. You had to follow those rules or leave, right? The rule is that all of us had to obey our conscience first. We had a loyalty to our conscience first, and then to APM. The orders that came down secondly. So yes, you would have to leave. Okay, and you never left? I did not. So we can infer from that conscientiously you were okay with all the orders that you received, right? There was, how do I put this? I was not okay with everything that was talked about, but there was never any orders to go do something that. So yes, I was concerned about things that were talked about, but I was not given orders to do anything that I was uncomfortable with doing. All right, Mr. Cox was the leader of the Second Amendment Task Force? Yes. You're a member of that? Yes. You subscribe to its beliefs? Yes. I'm going to ask you what I've asked every other member of the Second Amendment Task Force. You know what's coming, right? I do. Yeah, okay, and so with respect to the one provision on the Second Amendment Task Force where it says if you're on a jury, and there's a gun charge, you're supposed to acquit. Oh, okay, I didn't know if you were done with the question. Yeah, if there was a gun charge and there was no other crime, if it was just for a gun charge, not registering or something like that, and I was on the jury, I would acquit. Amen. Thank you for your candor, and that's one thing that you were, as part of the group, promoting to the community. Yes. Mr. Cox was the functional and operative and public figures leader of the Second Amendment Task Force. That's correct. Yeah, it was never quite formed. It was just kind of a movement, a group. There was no real leader, but he was the spokesman for it, yes? No real leader. Well, he was the spokesman. He came up with a lot of the ideas and suggestions, but as a group in a whole, everybody would kind of put in their say, their ideas, and we'd kind of work together as a group. And who would be leading the meetings, Mr. Cox? Yeah, he would host the meetings, yes. Okay, with respect to Liberty Bell, I believe you testified in your bail hearing. You were a member of that as well? Yeah, membership in that. Okay, sir, okay. Sorry, yes. I'll do my best to give you plenty of time to answer the questions. Okay, Mr. Barney? So you were a member of the Liberty Bell? Yes. All right, you testified in the bail hearing. You got calls as a Liberty Bell member once, maybe that two that I can think of. You couldn't make those calls because you were busy. Yes, on a date with my wife. Yeah, okay, that's pretty important. I'm glad you kept it. But Mr. Cox was the operative and functional leader of the Liberty Bell network, wasn't he? As far as I knew. Yeah, I mean, the card says it's his phone number on it and his name, doesn't it? Yeah. So pretty much the Liberty Bell was run by Mr. Cox. Yeah, as far as I knew, I didn't know who the operator was or anything, and all I knew is that he was the one that came up with the idea, and it was kind of his thing. Affirmative. And the nature of the Liberty Bell was somebody thinks or somebody's going on that someone doesn't like with respect to law enforcement action. They make a phone call and people come to the scene to record it, correct? Yes, if you feel like a constitutional right was being violated, yes, just to show up. There were strict instructions not to interfere with law enforcement whatsoever. Just to show up, take notes, record the event, use your iPhone, and take pictures, but not to interfere. Okay, so to your understanding, let me rephrase that. You understand, Mr. Barney, that there are procedures in court for dealing with allegations of illegal search and seizure, things of that nature? Yes. And the federal government has them. The state government has them, right? Yes. And we have lawyers and juries to handle those issues, correct? Yes. And if Mr. Cox would say, to your knowledge, that you know dozens of people would show up or thousands of people are going to show up there at the Liberty Bell Network, that wouldn't be quite right, would it? No, I'm not. I never did show up at one, so I don't know how many people ever showed up at these things. Probably not very many, huh? I wouldn't think so. Mr. Cox, primarily, he'd be the first one on the scene. I couldn't answer that. With respect to the clip we played last week of Mr. Cox and Mr. Zerby, you were here for that? Yes. Do you remember Mr. Cox saying, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us? Do you remember him saying that? Yes. And is that something that was part of the Liberty Bell Network? I'm not sure if he was referring to that or not. I'm not sure. You're very close to Mr. Cox, yes. I've become close with him, yes. Okay, and you have a friendship, yes. You spend a lot of time with him? Yes, since I've been in jail anyway. Sure, I understand, and I've seen some of the pleadings we put up here in court that Mr. Cox has filed, yes. And he have spoken, I would assume, at length, and you correct me if I'm wrong, about legal matters like the Constitution, yes, and the Second Amendment, yes, government regulation of things. I don't know if we a little bit, not a ton, mostly about constitutional law, common law, Second Amendment things, all right, and nature, yes. And so he seems to be well versed in those areas, constitutional law, common law, and things like that. Yes, Mr. Scrocky, I've been given a sticky for the lights, Denali. If we could have the lights, please. Sorry about that, Mr. Barney. So, and then history as well. Yes, and philosophy about government. Yes. And he seems to be well educated in the law, at least for a private citizen. He seems well educated with what the law should be, correct? As far as I know, he seems to be. And you're gonna hate me, Denali. I need the lights again. I'm sorry. Could we have 410, please? You recognize this exhibit, Mr. Barney? Yes, all right. And if we could turn to the, you've read this before, correct? You know, I know my name's on it and I've seen it in court. I don't recall reading it, but okay. I would assume that I would have. Okay, let's go. Well, let's get to that. Okay, let's go to the next page and we'll talk about that. All right. At the bottom of 410, do you see your signature down there? That's a very sloppy version of my signature, but it does resemble it. So that might not be yours, or what is it? I'm assuming, I'll bet it's mine. It's just not. It doesn't. The last part, Barney, does not look like mine at all. But I'm not saying it's not. I'm sure it probably is. All right. Do you know what this document is? Correct. Decree of political will. Do you want to read it for a moment and refresh your memory? That would be great. I'm having a hard time. We'll have Sean blow reading it on here. We'll have Sean blow it up for you. Let us know when you want to go further. Okay. Recall signing this? Like I said, I don't recall signing it, but I'm sure I did. I mean, it's kind of a unique document, isn't it? Yes, it is. Have you ever heard a decree of political will before? I hadn't. No. And there's Sean, can you blow up that for us? Up on the left-hand side, there's the 1st Judicial District of Thames, Interior Regional, Alaska. Have you ever seen something like that before? No. Do you know what it means? I don't. Scrocky, take us back. That's Mr. Cox's signature, correct? Yes, and you know Ken Thesson, he signed down there, right? Yes. Do you know who signed down there at the bottom, the last person to sign? I don't know that signature. And right underneath that it says there's a CC to Homeland Security in Alaska, Lieutenant Governor and Attorney General. Do you see that? Yes, you know, after seeing that, I do recall a conversation where they were sending to this, attending his thing, declaring himself as a sovereign citizen to the governor. I don't recall that conversation. Okay, so you pretty much signed in support of this decree. Like I said, I was very interested and curious if those sovereign citizen thing was real. If by filing paperwork, if the government would really recognize it. I was being told in the States that they were recognizing it. So I was really curious. I was very curious. Were you curious about the part that was going to be, there was going to be a claim for, 100,000? I was curious if that was real or not. Do you really think that was going to happen, Mr. Barney? Well, I figured we wouldn't know, and if it happened, you know it. If it didn't, then I guess we would know. Really? You think this document, and you're a businessman, aren't you? You are? Let's talk about that, Mr. Barney, okay? Okay. Mr. Scrocky, can we have the lights, please? You run government contracts, right? Yes. And you got men on the payroll? Yes. You got an accountant, right? Yes. Mr. O'Neill, was it? Did he come in here? Yes. So Mr. O'Neill. Yes. So you had an accountant. How many guys you got on staff? Anywhere as far as the guys working for me? Sure. Anywhere from 3. The busiest I ever got was 12 guys. Okay, 12 guys. And I mean, you got a lot of projects going on, yes? And so you're telling this jury that you think you just sent that 100 grand penalty signed up for Schaefer Cox just to see if it was going to work or not? I wasn't sending it off. I knew that the assembly post, this was kind of all the things that they were putting together. I didn't know if it would happen or not. That there was a friend of mine and I was on my mission in Tennessee and they claimed that they were sovereign citizens and they hadn't paid taxes in years. Affirmative and all those things, and so I was curious. I didn't know one way or the other. You pay your taxes? Yes, I do. Because you know what happens to people who don't pay their taxes, don't you? Yeah, I don't want to see what happens when I don't pay mine. Yeah, you know what happens. So those sovereign citizen stuff generally doesn't turn out very well for people, does it? It doesn't. Like I said, the family I met on my mission in Tennessee, that's okay. It's good. Okay, I'm going to shift gears here a little bit, and there was some testimony you went over with respect to CNN. Yes. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I recall testimony on CNN that was going to do this show and you needed to generate enough guys from the militia to do this show. Yeah, my understanding is that they wanted to come up and do a story, and there was at the time, there was just, when I realized that there was just nobody in the militia, I was asked, I was a private, okay? Affirmative, okay? I'm sorry, you were a private? You want me to keep going? You were a private? Okay. But you had Mr. Zerby was there. Yeah, he was there, a member. Yes, he was a member. Mr. Brockman was a member. Brockman was a member, yes. You, yes. Mr. Cox, yes. Mr. Vernon, yes. So that's 5. And I think you had 1 or 2 more. I can't remember. Do you remember who they were? At that point in time, after the training, there was really nobody involved other than those ones you just mentioned. Those were the only people that were still mentioned. Affirmative. The other ones I mentioned were after we discussed that we needed to get more people for the story that God commissioned at my house at barbecue on August 11th. All right, was the reason that CNN was interested in you guys because of the claim of 3,500 members? I don't recall the reason why. I just heard they contacted Schaefer, was my understanding, and wanted to do a story on us, but that 3500 number was out there, right? Yeah, I believe it was at the time. So my colleagues here say Mr. Lazenby was in the militia at that point in time, and Mr. Rensel. At that point in time, I don't think so. I know we tried contacting him several times, and I couldn't get a hold of him. As far as Rensel, no. Rensel, I know, was a good friend. Mr. Barney, do you want me? Okay, if they're not members, that's good for right now. Okay. I appreciate it. What I'm trying to get to is you were asked some questions about the box of 100 to be made 37 millimeter munitions. Yes, that was found in your house. Yes, that was found in your study, right, or in your office area, either the office or the cold storage room, one of those rooms, I would imagine. Okay, and there was a 37 millimeter launcher in that box, correct? I had seen it in the investigation. I don't recall seeing it in the box myself, but that's what I seen in the investigation, that it was found in there. You don't recall ever seeing it in the box there by itself before the investigation team came in? I'm not saying that I didn't. There was a lot of stuff in that room. Okay, just checking on that. Yes, all right. But you mentioned that these to be made munition or cartridges were part of this grenade golf you were talking about. That was my understanding, yes. And there was no blank chalk rounds in that box, were there? No, there was the basics. There was nothing, no powder, nothing else to put them together, or than just And to tell you the truth, I don't even know what was in the other than the cartridge. Some cardboard things and just the basics to get you started is my understanding of what was in there. So what else was in there that you've seen as an exhibit was a warning about the 37 millimeter munitions and possible illegalities involved with them, right? That was in the box. I didn't see that until here in court, yes. Okay, the box in the photo, we can pull it up if you wish. The box was opened in your office, wasn't it? I don't know if it was open or not. It could have been very well been. There was a 37 millimeter launcher in that box, okay. You'll take my word for that. Like I could show it to you if you want, but no, that's fine. Like I said, it's very well could have been. There's a lot of boxes in the room, a lot of stuff in that room. Okay, I think we'll have to show you where it was found. Scracking 181, please. Can we have the lights, Denali, quickly? Do you see that photo there, Mr. Barney? Yes, I do. The room is your office area, correct? Yes, it is. The door right there is the door that opens into the storeroom. But this box is sitting right there. Right here, yes. And there appears to be a 37 millimeter launcher in the middle of it. That's what it appears. I'm assuming that's probably what it is. All right. If we could have the lights, Denali, I asked you questions about this box at the bail hearing. Do you recall those questions? I don't. I just reviewed that thing just a couple of days ago. Well, let me ask you this. You didn't tell the judge that any of these were for grenade golf at a golf course or as part of a stunt for CNN, did you? I don't know. Like I said, I just reviewed it just a couple of days ago. I'm thinking I probably didn't. But would you like to see it? I'll take your word for it, but if you want to show me, that's fine too. Let's do this. Let's keep going and you can look at it over lunch, okay? How about that? Okay, fair enough, yeah. You testified on direct that your contact with Gerald Olson was that he called you. Isn't that you didn't call Mr. Olson first? I don't recall. I remember where I was at. I remember I was in the office at my house. All I remember is talking to him. He said that he was interested in joining the militia. I gave him some information. I told him I'd email him some stuff and invited him to the barbecue at my house. Okay, so you emailed him some stuff, yes, all right, and that information you got, the stuff you emailed him was an attachment from, was it Mr. Madison? Yeah, do you recall that? Yeah, affirmative. And you got that from who? I got that off Wikipedia. Yeah, so you found that yourself, yeah, and you sent that to Mr. Olson, yeah. Okay, and you had a number of folks over to your home for this commissioning ceremony in August of 2010, if I've got that right? Yeah, August 11th, 2010, so tell the jury how many guys showed up. There was probably you just want an estimate? Sure, do your best. I'm not trying to pin you down to a specific number, Mr. Barney. Yeah, there was probably 12 guys, 13 guys or so. They all take the oath and... No, join up? No, there was, I think, probably about 4 or 5 guys that took the oath. So one of them was Mr. Olson. One of them was Mr. Olson. There was Jeremy Sparger, Mike McManus. My dad took the oath, Val Marchbanks, my uncle, and Scott Walker. Okay, so how long this probably took? A couple of hours, yeah. Yeah, okay, a family event, barbecue type of thing, yeah, potluck, just barbecue, just burgers, okay. Were the newer members or those recruiters, the ones that were coming into the militia, were they commissioned after Mr. Cox gave a speech about the federal assassins and the character assassination, or was it before? It was after. How many of those guys stuck around after that in terms of the APM militia? Let me, if you know. Well, I'm just going through the names again. Like I said, we never really got together ever. There was a big thing. If I kept on getting emails from Schaefer, need to get the guys together, need to go do stuff. Okay, I'm going to take a break here on page 76. We'll take a break. All right, going to pick up with day 20, page 76. Cross-examination of Barney. Need to get the guys together, need to go do stuff. Okay, Mr. Barney, I'm just going to ask you how many guys stuck around after the ceremony as members of your militia. There was a couple of people that came to a couple of events, and that was about it. So Mr. Olson joins in August of 2010, correct? Yes. And essentially the relationship has ended on March 10th of 2011. Yes. During that time you spoke with Mr. Olson? Yes. You trusted him? Yes. You treated him as a member of your militia? Yes. Mr. Cox trusted him? Yes. In fact, you all did, didn't you? I can only speak for me and Schaefer. Okay. Well, I guess I can't speak for Schaefer, but I guess I can't even speak for Schaefer. Did he do anything? I can speak for myself. Did he do anything that you observed? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did he do anything inconsistent that you observed that showed he didn't trust Mr. Olson? No, he was very helpful. Some of the comments that he made I didn't like, but he was very helpful, wanted to go out of his way to help. Okay, so when you spoke with Mr. Olson, you were speaking to him as a trusted member of the militia? More towards the end, it was just more of a friend. The militia, Schaefer was leaving. The militia hadn't been really getting together, doing anything, so it was more, at that point, it was just more as a friend. Brought to you by association with the militia, yes. And there, of course, was never any disbandment of, officially of the APM, right? No, there wasn't really a whole lot of people to disband, but no. Okay. And when you spoke with Mr. Olson in the confines of Mr. Thessing's bus in your home, you weren't holding anything back, were you? Yeah, I was. Yeah? Yes. And we're going to hear someplace some of the recordings about what you're holding back. If I was holding back, you wouldn't hear it on the recordings. We have 100 hours, right? Yes. And so if there was something that was of importance, you would have brought it up. Can I speak to that? Go ahead. Okay, I wasn't really. I was spitting out in my mind a lot of this stuff coming up. I felt guilty that I was agreeing with Ken, that I agreed that, Schaefer, if he feels like his family's in danger, that he needs to leave town. I felt guilty that I was agreeing with Ken. I was holding back the fact that, I think he seems a little bit crazy. And so instead of just saying what I thought, I would say people in the militia won't agree with this. People won't see us as martyrs. If there's more violations and enough people in the public are hurt, I guess I can see, down the road. So I was holding back and I was going more, instead of saying what I felt, I just putting it off and felt like that Schaefer was leaving. And even if Schaefer agreed that, I just need to get my family safe, and ultimately that 241 was not a go. Well, we'll get to all that, okay? And to what you said, okay, thanks. There has been, I guess the point of the matter is, on these recordings, you said what you said, right? I did. And you pretty much, what you said, what's coming, and don't you, in terms of questions? I don't, but I can imagine. Okay, well, there was a testimony from Mr. Cox about fleeing the country. Yes, last week. Do you recall hearing that? Yes. Fleeing the country is not something you ever heard in these conversations, is it? He said that he needed to disappear. It's not something you ever heard in these conversations, is it? Fleeing the country, going to a foreign country is what I'm asking. There was a discussion about going to Israel, yes. Affirmative. And also to Montana, yes. All right, the lower 48, yeah. There's lots of discussions, lots of possibilities that he may or may not let us know where he ended up. Affirmative. And he was going to use trucker to get out of the United States, yes. Drive down through Canada someplace, yes. Was there a discussion using Les Zerbe's plane? I've listened to the audio. I don't know if that was at Vernon's house or if that was that one that I was at. Okay, Zerbe had an airplane, right? Yes. Did APM have an airplane? No. Zerbe offered it for use to the APM, not that I know of. You're not aware of that? Did you know it had an APM sticker on its rudder? No, I didn't. Well, you're a pilot, right? Close. You would have noticed something like that had you seen it. Yeah, I never seen his plane. Okay, let's talk about KJNP, okay? Okay. Scrocky, if we could have Exhibit 203, please. What I want to understand, Mr. Barney, is we've seen a lot of documents out of your house, out of Mr. Cox's house, out of Mr. Vernon's house, I want to talk about some of those. Okay. On KJNP, the date in question on the 23rd of November, there were really two security details going on, weren't there? As far as that were talked about, yes. Yes, as far as that were talked about, yes. And the weather canceled one of them. Yeah, but those discussions of what to do on the other one, there was a change of plans before that happened. Okay, I asked the weather change one of them, yes. Okay, with respect to the one downtown, there was a plan for the security detail downtown, wasn't there? Before the storm, you guys had a plan for a security detail for Schaefer Cox downtown. Yes, but it's different from the one that we originally came up with. Well, we'll get into that. We'll get to that. Okay, if that's what you want to say, that's fine. We'll get to it. You were in charge of the detail, correct? Yes. You were in charge of collecting people to work on that security detail? Yes. And you were going to be armed for that security detail, outside the court building, not inside. That's fine. Outside the courthouse, you were going to be armed. That was the original plan, yes. And you were going to be wearing body armor. Well, that was discussed on this board. That was the original plan, yes. Affirmative. And you were going to be carrying your AR-15. And you were going to carry your AR-15, is it? No. You're not going to carry that downtown? No. You're going to carry your pistols downtown? Yes. Other members of the security detail are going to be armed as well, weren't they? Yes. Because the federal agents were coming after Mr. Cox, correct? That's what was talked about, yes. Federal agents, right? Yeah, these people that he believed there was a federal assassin team that he was worried about, yes. And we've heard about that. Aurora, Colorado, right? Yes, we have. Six Solace assassins, correct? Yes. And the same things that play downtown Fairbanks with respect to the orders of the security detail, correct? Yes. So had the conditions, we'll get to the conditions. Okay. Appeared you gentlemen would have opened fire on plainclothes federal agents in downtown Fairbanks, yes or no? We would have opened fire on plainclothes people who were firing on us, who we couldn't identify, who could possibly be agents. Affirmative. And we'll talk about the drawdown versus the firing. Okay. When we get to the whiteboard, because I think we have a disagreement about that. Okay, because you say the board says draw down, doesn't it? I don't know, it probably does, but there's plenty other lines in there to talk about that, only to shoot and if life is in danger. Right, but it also says draw down. It doesn't say if they shoot, you shoot, does it? I believe there's plenty of other information on the board to show that shows we went out of our way to use non-lethal means first and only as a last option in self-defense to use lethal means. And this is going to be downtown Fairbanks in front of the Rabinowitz courthouse. Yeah, downtown Fairbanks, yeah. We weren't planning, we didn't. Okay, I'll give you as much time as you want, okay. My question was downtown Fairbanks in front of the courthouse, right? Yes. So I want to know where you were going to be stationed. I was just supposed to escort him to his car. Okay, and how many people were supposed to be there? As far as the security detail? Yes. As far as the original one, we talked about there was going to be 3 escorts for each person. There would have been Marty Schaefer Bartles. So 9 people. Yes, all armed. That was the original plan, downtown Fairbanks? Yes. All right, you mentioned there was going to be the use of non-lethal force in downtown Fairbanks, but you didn't have your launcher with you, did you? That's what I was trying to explain. Okay. Downtown, there was not one of the options for downtown, no. No non-lethal force downtown in Fairbanks for these federal agents. There would have been, to be carrying launchers downtown, there would have been a little bit overboard as far as causing concern in public. That's Exhibit 207. Do you recognize that? I do. That's your AR-15? Yes, it is. And that's the one you carried to KJNP? Yes. Do you have the launcher right there? Yes. Do you think this would have caused some concern in downtown Fairbanks? I do. This just by itself? That by itself, yes. And Brockman was going to be with you guys in downtown Fairbanks? Yeah. I don't recall, but I think so, yes. And he carried how many rounds again to KJNP? Do you recall what he said? I think he said he might have just 30 rounds. I don't know if he said. Okay, if he had any more than that. But he had a semi-automatic rifle with him. Yes, he did. All right, so yeah, you would agree with me this would have caused a lot of heartache with law enforcement of any level in downtown Fairbanks, had you? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so there was no non-lethal option. No, not to that plan, was there? At KJNP, but not downtown. Downtown, we'll get to KJNP. Okay, I'll give you a chance to talk about that, but this was going to be a no-go for downtown. That was a no-go for downtown. How long did it take you to put the launcher on there? Not very long. It's just a couple of set screws, so it only takes a matter of a minute. Just like Mr. Altman testified when he was here? Yes. So he was right, yes. Could we have the lights, please, Denali? So I don't mean to beat a dead horse, I really don't, but the security detail in downtown Fairbanks, you were going to have 9 people there, and they were all under instructions to kill those federal agents in the event of they were going to use lethal force on Mr. Cox, his wife, or Judge Bartles. The way I explain to people, and it's just to show up, a lot of these people carry it anyway all the time, just normally. You know, in Alaska, you can carry concealed, you don't have to have a permit or anything. I said, so basically we're just going to show up, we're going to go outside the courtroom, not the courtroom, the court building. I know it sounds crazy, we don't think anything's going to happen, but if somebody were to show up and they were just in plain clothes and they just start shooting at Bartles, Marty, or Schaefer, we have the right at that point to protect them, and we're just going to basically escorting them to their cars. Have you ever had any law enforcement training? No, I haven't. Firearms training? I've taken some hunter safety, but other than that, no. I have to. It doesn't teach you what you need to know in those kind of situations, does it? No. Hunter safety is not even close. No. Okay, so the answer is no, you have no training for situations like this? No, I haven't. And neither did any of the other 9 people who showed up for security detail. You know, I can't speak to that. I know that Brockman worked for TSA, but I don't know what level he worked for them. I think he's watching the screen. Okay, as I recall, so that wouldn't qualify either, would it? I wouldn't assume so. I want to ask you about this list, about this checklist you got here. And there's one phrase in particular here. It says, if you touch me, you are acting in defiance of the law at your own peril. Do you see that? I do. Sean, can you blow that up, please? Thank you. This is what was going to be spoken to you by you to these police officers. No, this was at the exit crew. Then Ken Thessing was going to be involved with. Do you want me to? Sure. Speak to that? Sure. Okay, this was the whole purpose of this court thing, is that the assembly post wanted to use Schaefer's notoriety because they say whenever you go to court, the cameras always follow you, and we think we can use this to bring the sovereign citizen and the assembly post thing to light. And when you go to court, that would be cool and fun, is once you give them your jurisdiction papers and say that you're going to move to this jurisdiction, if you're leaving, if they want to arrest you, we can have some other guys that want to just say, hey, well, we want to get arrested with him. We demand to get arrested with him, and go down to court and make a big media spectacle of it to try to promote this upcoming thing that the Assembly Post wanted to do at Carlson Center. And let me ask you this, Mr. Barney, this is your writing? Yes, it is. What's the part about at your own peril supposed to mean? We wrote that down. Schaefer was the one that wrote this down. We were copying off that. He wrote down, and we just said, what's that about? And he goes, well, it'll make them just pause and think for a while. But he said Judge Raymond Leo in Washington, what he's got is these F-56 tax forms that if they arrest us, then what we'll do is we'll put a lien on that. How about we talk about those after lunch, okay? It's lunchtime. We'll reconvene at 1:30, folks. Please be ready to go at that time. The matter's in recess until 1:30. All rise. His honor, the court. This United States District Court is again in session. Please be seated. Bring the jury in, please. All right, you may continue, Mr. Scrocky. Scrocky, thank you, Your Honor. Scrocky. Mr. Barney, we were before lunch speaking about the security detail down at the Rabonowitz courthouse, yes. And you had a name for that detail, didn't you? I believe there was the exit crew, the people that were going to be inside, and then I can't remember the name, but yeah. Was it the striker team? The striker team. Affirmative. I don't ever recall that, no. Never heard that before? No, not something you recall? No. With respect to the directions for this detail at the Rabinowitz courthouse, or even for the KJNP, and we'll look at the whiteboard in a minute, there's nothing on that board that says, shoot them if they shoot, right? There's nothing on the board that says, on the whiteboard? Right. It says, what it does say, it says, I know, but what I asked you is, okay, right. No, it doesn't say that, does it? No. We'll get to what it says in, okay, a little bit. Could we have Exhibit 203 and the lights, please, Denali? Do you recognize this page, this document here, Mr. Barney? I do. And if we could go to 203-4. Okay, this is the exit team you were talking about? Yeah. And this is where we had a phrase that you're acting in defiance of the law, correct? Yes. All right, Scotty, go to 203-5. These are maps that you drew, correct? Yes, and this was done because you had seen the courthouse ahead of time, right? This was drawn up on a board just showing us the layout of the courtroom. I was just copying off as we were going over it. And this was copied off at Mr. Cox's house. I believe that's where it was at, yes. And the person doing it who created the map in the first place was who? I can't recall. I don't know if it was Ken Thessing. I can't recall who drew it up originally. All right. So you were there. Mr. Thessing was there? Yes. Looking at this map here that we're looking at, yes. So somebody had gone to the court and was relaying that information to you. I assume whoever drew it up had knowledge of what it looked like. All right. Well, you've been in Rabinowitz Courthouse, right? I have. So this is accurate, isn't it? Yes. You got stairs and a balcony and all that stuff, right? Yes. Can we go to 6, please? Then we have a list of items here, Mr. Barney. Do you see those? Yes. We have on the first line, we have pistol, rifle, body armor, ammo, mag holders, correct? Yes. Grenades, grenade launchers, radios, and phones. Yes. Gear and car. Do you see that? Yes. Is this for the Rabinowitz Courthouse? Yeah. That was to have everything in your cars ready to go out to KJ&P that night. This was a combination of both events, so we're supposed to have everything ready for KJ&P later on that night. At Rabinowitz, it was, in fact, I could see it on here. We'll blow it up for you. Okay, so you were going to leave all those things in your car for both events, right? Yes, like on line 5, it says, get geared up and concealed and go back to courthouse. So at Rabinowitz, it was just going to be our sidearm. It wasn't going to be anything else other than that. I was going to ask you about the line where it says, get geared up and concealed and back to courtyard. Yes. Concealed where? No, concealed is the carrying concealed, not carrying like your AR-15 and the launcher. Oh, so it's the stuff that we've talked about just to carry your pistol? Yes. So you had 9 people carrying pistols, or planned to have 9 people carrying pistols, right, originally. And you had 9 people with these instructions about how to contact or what to do, and federal law enforcement showed up, these assassin teams, right? Yeah. Of these people that I had, Mr. Barney, okay. You had 9 people under these directions, correct? I hadn't gotten 9 people yet. That was a plan. That was a plan. So with this plan, had it been put into play, you would have had 9 separate individuals out there looking at different things, assuming under the same set of orders, right? Yes, subject to 9 different interpretations, sure. Right? Now, not everybody's going to be looking at the same rules the same way you are, right? Well, we did spend a lot of time on the whiteboard, and we made it very clear that that's why we said plainclothes agents, meaning that if they're plainclothes, you can't identify who they are. They could possibly be an agent. If they don't identify who they are, they try to shoot somebody, then that means you have a right to defend yourself like you would against anybody. Mr. Barney, whether it was KJ&P or if it was downtown in front of the Rabinowitz Courthouse, you think someone's going to say to you if they're a cop, hey, I'm a trooper, don't shoot? Do you actually think that was going to happen? Well, I think if somebody showed up and just started shooting without saying anything, then I think that you have a right to defend yourself against that. And what if it was, under these rules, if it was a trooper who had been... Hold on, I lost my spot. If under these rules, if it was a trooper who had been something, you wouldn't have seen and drew a weapon and started shooting? You can add what you wish, but the whiteboard says draw down. Okay, and then someone's going to make this snap judgment decision with no training and shoot somebody. That was what was going to happen here. That's your opinion. We spent a lot of time. If we can talk about the other things on the whiteboard, I think it would make it very clear of what was discussed. Well, we'll talk about it. I'll give you a chance to do that. Okay. Scrocky, could we go to 2306? We're at 2306. Could we go to 2307? Some more notes that you took, sir? I'm sorry, what's that? Some more notes that you took, yes. On these security details, yes. So that's we're looking at 5 pages so far, right? Yeah. And you called all those individuals with respect to on the left side to work on this security detail? I did. I called quite a few of them, not all. You did all of them? That worked for Mr. Cox? Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, and on the right-hand side, there's some folks there for the exit team, right? Yeah, some folks said no. Yes, Mr. Barchbank said no. Yes, Crockett, could we go to 209, please? Actually, I'm sorry, I messed up. Go back to 203. Again, this is your writing on 203-8. Yes, it is. And we have a list of who's in the courthouse event. Yes. And when we have security, right, on the right side. Yeah, and half of those people aren't even in the militia. Okay, but the right side, you have assigned who's going to be doing that. Didn't you? I put down who I thought, and then I tried contacting those people and talking to them after. Affirmative. So you made these decisions? Yes. And the same thing with the left-hand side of the exit team at the courthouse? Yes. And not all of these people, I don't know all of them. Schaefer had given me some names, so some of these names I didn't even know and hadn't contacted them at all just yet. But you called them anyway. Yeah. Mr. Scrock, if we could blow up the bottom of the page, please, Sean. So these are notes you took at the KJ&P section of the security detail, yes. And number 1 says, go Saturday or Sunday to check out the layout of the area. You did? Yeah. Okay, we're on page 101. It's 236 pages total. I'm going to take a break here. All right, let's pick up with page 101. Continued cross-examination of Barney. Yeah, you did that, didn't you? Yeah, I did. I don't remember what day, but yeah, I do remember going by there, yeah. So you went and checked it out ahead of time. Yes, and you didn't talk to anybody at KJNP about whether this was an appropriate thing to do, did you? Did you? What's that? I'm asking you if you went and contacted anybody at KJNP with respect to what you were going to do that night. Yeah, we called. No, I said you. Did I? I don't care about we. I asked you. Okay, no, I didn't, but that night I did. And you didn't tell the court that you had done that in your bail hearing, did you? Objection, Julie. Answer, yes, I did. Well, when there's an objection, you should wait. The witness, oh, sorry. The dishonorable, senile, deaf court. And not answer. The objection was well taken to that question. However, the answer may stand. Scrocky. All right. Scrocky. And you spoke to somebody to get permission about this, didn't you? Yes. And who would that person have been? Dick Olson? And you heard him testify here at this trial, right? I did. He didn't seem to recall that, did he? I remember him saying that he did recall it. Well, I disagree with you. Nevertheless, you came up with this number 2 security strategy. You see that? Yes. And then you have an emergency exit strategy and a placement with radios, correct? Yes. And so you guys had radios to communicate back and forth, yes. And you put somebody out in front in KJNP to watch the entrance, yes. Let's talk about the number 3 and the number 4, plugging in work lights and bringing trailer to block driveway. Do you see that? Yes. So you plan to do that, yeah. We didn't end up bringing the trailer, though. We just brought the work lights. Did you end up bringing the trailer, Mr. Barney? No. You brought the work lights, didn't you? Yes, I did. But the plan was to bring the trailer and block the driveway. So you left the trailer at home? Yeah, we left the trailer at home. How many men were there, Mr. Barney? I believe there was about 5. And you were there? Yes. And you had your AR-15 with you and the 37mm launcher attached. I did. Where did you meet before you all went out to KJNP? We all didn't meet. Gary Brockman came to my house, and then from the meeting, Gary went to KJNP, and everybody else met over there. Okay, so Brockman came to your house, yes? You showed him the launcher? Yes. You showed him the Hornet's Nest grenade. I don't know if I showed it to him. I believe that we talked about it, though. You explained to him what it did, yes. He testified to that effect, yes. You told him that you knew what it did in terms of projectiles coming out, correct? I recall that. All right, you loaded up your AR with how many rounds in the magazine, and how many extra magazines did you bring with you? I think there were 6 magazines. Tell the jury how many rounds that holds. Each magazine holds 30 rounds. So do the math for us. Well, 6 times 30. Well, that'd be 90 times 2, and you'd get 180 rounds. Is that right? Sounds about right to me. Okay. So you loaded up 180 rounds to go to KJNP. Yes, that's all. That's me talking. That's, And you had those on your person, a tactical vest of some sort, I take it? I think so. Okay, where did you get the Hornet's Nest from? You know what? I don't know I think Schaefer brought that when he came and gave it to you. Yes, and you guys had a discussion about mounting the washer to your AR. I don't know if we had a discussion about mounting my launcher to the AR, but you did it anyway. I did, yes, and you loaded it up while you were at KJNP. It was loaded. Yeah, I believe it was. So Brockman was there at your house too. Yeah, and he carried how many rounds? Do you know? I don't know. I believe from what I remember his testimony, I think he just had the 1 clip. Could it have been more? From what I remember him saying, he just had the 1 clip. Okay, and he brought his truck and an ATV, yes. And so when you went out to KGNP, you met Mr. Vernon was out there, right? Yes, Mr. Brockman, Mr. Vernon. Who's driving the 4-wheeler? Mike McCandless. Okay, and he's an APM member as well, yes. And he's riding Brockman's 4-wheeler, yes. And who's doing the surveillance out front, and who's at the front of the entrance to KJNP with the radio? That's Lonnie Vernon. Lonnie was out front. Yes, you saw the photo we've used here in trial at Lonnie's KGNP. I have. That's how he was dressed, right? Yes. Tell the jury how you were dressed. I think I just had my car hats on. I may have had a APM uniform and a car hat coat, and then I had a ballistic vest on and then my AR. And I believe you were set up in the woods perimeter of some sort. I wasn't in the woods, but I was on the perimeter. There was a parking lot that goes slightly around a bit, and there's an area where there's a trail that comes up to the slough here. I was standing just around the corner, looking down that area and opens up into the slough, looking for those federal agents. Like we said, we thought it was very unlikely, didn't think anything was going to happen at all, but a possibility. So we talked about it. We said, you know what? That is, nothing's going to happen, but it's still a good practice. Let's just go over and just in case, make sure everybody knows in the event that something does happen. So you had 180 rounds with you and the Hornet's Nest launcher and a grenade with a grenade in it just for practice or possibility, huh? I didn't have a grenade in it. A Hornet's Nest round, yes. That was in the launcher, right? Yeah, so we're clear on that, yes? So you brought all that just for practice. Like we said, we didn't think anything was going to happen. Let me ask you this, Mr. Barney. Did you call the troopers ahead of time and say, hey, we're going to be out here doing a detail. You guys might want to just, take it easy and give us some space? No, it's on private property. Like I said, I talked to Dick Olson. I'd love to can we bring up the interview? Not particularly, okay. Because I'm not there yet. You didn't call the troopers, correct? I didn't think we needed to. You assumed that everybody at KJNP would be advised about what you did, correct? Yes. You assumed that anybody who drove on the property who didn't expect would understand the purpose and reasons you were there and wouldn't call the troopers, right? No, but we were on private property. I thought it would be okay there, especially with having their permission. Didn't call North Pole Police? No. Didn't call the FBI? No. Didn't call Fairbanks PD? No. And your members stopped by folks at KJNP and asked their identification, didn't they? I wasn't aware at the time, but I found out since they did. You know that now, right? Yes. Was that for practice too? That was just for my knowledge, a security detail. You ask people what they're doing in the building, and they just let them know who we were, and we were told to. I told them to be very polite, and we're not to try to stop anybody. We just like to know who they are. You think you saw Victoria Thompson coming in here and testifying, didn't you? Yeah, she looked like a federal assassin to you? Absolutely not. Yvonne Carricker looked like a federal assassin to you? No, they seem like wonderful people. So you brought the lights, as I understand it. I did. Had them set up? Yes. Turned them on? Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard you say earlier in your direct that this security detail was an assembly post idea. Is that accurate? As far as I know it was, I believe it was. So you had a security briefing ahead of time? Yes. You guys drew up the whiteboard? Yes. You put all this stuff into play. You carried 140 rounds to KJNP, and it was an assembly post idea? He said 140. I think before it was 180. Hey, Scrocky, you can't get your math straight? Like I said, when we went over to Schaefer's house to go over this, and was then in the AP had come down from Anchorage, and there was a lot of them down here, and the whole idea of trying to shine the spotlight on this thing at court, and then later going to KGNP that night, and there was going to announce the Carlson Center event, and so it was just a security detail while Schaefer was there announcing the Carlson Center event. You've seen Mr. Cox's interview at KJNP, haven't you? I since have, yeah. Yeah, there's no mention of the assembly post on there, is there? There's mention the Carlson Center event. Affirmative, but not the assembly post. Not the assembly post per se, but what they were trying to represent. Affirmative. There is mention of the federal assassin team, correct? Yes. No mention of Aaron Bennett in that conversation, is there? No. There's no mention of Bill Fulton in that conversation, is there? No. There's no mention of the federal assassin team being put forth by Bill Fulton to Aaron Bennett and then in play of KJNP, is there? I'm sorry, could you... Sure, there's no mention in Mr. Cox's interview that Bill Fulton is behind the federal assassin team, is there? No, I don't remember ever discussing about Bill Fulton being behind a federal assassin team. You never remember discussing that with Mr. Cox either. The Bill Fulton's behind the federal assassin team. Affirmative. Is that news to you, Mr. Barney? I guess I never heard that. The Bill Fulton is behind setting up the federal assassin team. Okay, were you aware that Mr. Cox told anybody listening on KJNP your militia had the federal assassin team under 24-hour surveillance? I wasn't aware of that until later. That wasn't true, was it? No. So you didn't have anybody under surveillance, did you? No. So he's lying? Yeah, he didn't have anybody under surveillance. Scrocky. If we could go to 139, which is going to be on the whiteboard, Mr. Barney. Mr. Barney, tell me on that board where you see the names of Bill Fulton or Aaron Bennett. I don't. In fact, Mr. Barney, during the security team plan for both Rabinowitz Courthouse and KJNP security detail, neither Bill Fulton nor Aaron Bennett were mentioned in any respect, were they? No. Your answer is no. Yes. You said no. Yes. I want to turn to number 5 on the whiteboard, Mr. Barney, and I just look at that for a second. I've got another question before I go to that, okay? So it seems that this whiteboard covers both security details. Would you agree with that? Yes. Okay, because we've got Courtyard right there, yes, and so we're talking about the Rabinowitz team and KJNP team. Yes, you're listed at the top, correct? And so you're responsible for this plan, yes, and as the major in charge under either scenario, you would be responsible for the actions of your personnel, yes. Number 5 says, look out for plainclothes agents drawing weapon. Isn't that what that says? Yes. Number 7. Can we talk about number 6? Well, okay. As soon as we go through number 7, drawing down, it is what it says, correct? It does. Number 6 says, do not shoot light unless life is in danger, correct? Yes. Mr. Barney, understand that police officers could pull and not shoot, and could draw their weapon and not shoot. Yes, yes, and that's why we did discuss line 6, says do not shoot unless life in danger. We were talking about if plainclothes people show up and we don't know who they are, and if they start shooting only in life, when life is in danger, are you going to shoot back? And at the end of line 7, we didn't finish it, shoot for self-defense. And you're going to have discussions with these people or with any law enforcement officer who would show up and said, who are you? Do you mean to kill me? Are you going to shoot or not? Is that how it's going to work? Hey, Scrocky, you're a jackass. If somebody shows up, we don't know who they are, they're not in uniform, they're in plain clothes, they don't identify themselves, they start shooting, at that point I believe we do have the right to self-defense. I understand your belief, but I'm asking you, okay, you know Fairbanks Police has undercover officers, okay. Troopers have undercover officers, yes. Yes, yes. Most federal, if not all federal law enforcement agencies have undercover officers or officers who run around town off duty or in their plain clothes, correct? Yes, but it is their policy to show up and start shooting without identifying who they are. In the event an officer came and saw what you guys were carrying out, got out of the car, you know that they're trained, don't you? Yes. And you have a very, very serious firearm in your hand, don't you? Yes. It's dark, correct? Yes. They're not going to know why you're there. It was pretty light. Like I said, it was lit up. Fair enough, okay? And you don't know why, and they don't know why you're there if they pull up. If they called the property beforehand, they would have known while we're there. Okay, we're supposed to play 20 questions with you about who they are and who they are with, right? No, if you would have showed up and told us who they were, we would have set down our rifles. In fact, in here somewhere it says if cops show up and want to make arrests, allow peaceful arrest. I'm trying to find out what line that is. Line 12. Yeah, I see that there. Who gave you, let me rephrase that. Mr. Cox gave you the order that in the event all these things lined up, as you said, that you were to kill the federal officer, right? No, that we were to defend. No, Mr. Barney, let me rephrase the question. Mr. Cox gave you the order that if all these things lined up, federal assassin, they're pointing guns, they're drawing down, however you want to call it, you were going to shoot to kill. No, if we don't know who they are, but you were going to shoot to kill in the event they know. Line number 13 says use non-lethal means, second option, last resort, then yes. Okay, I want you to tell this jury the circumstances where you would kill a federal agent based on the document or on the whiteboard. Okay, based on this, if somebody showed up out at KJ&P, didn't know who they were in plain clothes, didn't identify themselves, and started shooting to try to kill Marty, Sheriff, or Schaefer, or Bartles, or for anybody for that matter that was there, we were to use non-lethal means only as a last resort. We're to use lethal means. So you went out there with the understanding that was Mr. Cox, right? The whiteboard, those directions were for Mr. Cox, yes. So you had to go out to KJ&P with the understanding that there were some circumstances where you might have to kill somebody. Yes, in self-defense. You weren't the one being shot at, Mr. Barney. Is that a question? Traverso, is that a question? Were you under this scenario, under that board? You're not the one being shot at? Absolutely we were. It says if it draws down on Schaefer Cox, Marty Cox, or Judge Bartles, it doesn't mention Coleman Barney or Lonnie Vernon or Gary Brogman, does it? No, it doesn't. So you left your house knowing there was a possibility that you might have to kill somebody under the right set of circumstances. In self-defense, if somebody was trying to murder us, yes. And you don't know what Lonnie Vernon thought of this plan and what he knew. He understood it to be, did you? We talked about it and we went over it. So, well, he had his own opinion, right? Objection, speculation, Traverso, objection. He shouldn't have. The court sustained. Scrocky, you didn't know what Gary Brogman understood with respect to all of this, did you? Objection, objection, objection. The court, no, duly. He can only testify to what he knows, not what the court, well, somebody else knows. The court, that's what this question went to, is what he knows. Could you rephrase the question, please? Scrocky, you didn't know what Gary Brogman understood with respect to these instructions, did you? We discussed it. I got feedback from all of them, and from the feedback, I believe they understood, yes. Affirmative. So everybody's on the same sheet of music, yes. That was an incredibly interesting exchange of objections, and it's amazing how the judge didn't sustain the objections by the defendants. So everybody agrees that they're going to be leaving there. They're going to be at KJMP with a possibility of killing somebody that night. Hey, there's a possibility of killing somebody every single day, Scrocky. When I walk out my door, if somebody tries to murder me, there's a possibility that I might kill somebody. What a freaking joke you are, Scrocky. So everybody agrees that they're going to be leaving. They're going to be at KJNP with the possibility of killing somebody that night. With the possibility of defending against murder. And that applies all the time. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all throughout the year, Scrocky. I understand your position, Mr. Barney. I'm not agreeing with you, but I understand it. Oh, okay. Could you describe the 37mm launcher you put on your rifle for the jury? Yeah, before this, I haven't really had any experience. This is the only time that... Mr. Barney, I asked if you could describe it, please. Okay, it's a flare launcher about yay long. You guys have seen several of them since you've been in here. Other than that, I don't know what to describe about it. Okay, and when you left to the KJNP, when you went to KJNP, it was loaded in your launcher? It was loaded in your launcher or in the launcher, the cartridge? I know that when I got there, I don't know if it was loaded on the way there. I couldn't tell you. It's been too long. You can't recall when you loaded it up? No. Do you recall while you were doing the perimeter? Yes, and you had seen those before, hadn't you? Launchers? The launcher and a hornet's nest round? I've never seen a hornet's nest round before, but I had seen launchers before. Okay, and how did you see the launchers before? Back in August of the same year of 2010, it was when we went to rob cars. We were trying to see if he had any launchers. We wanted to get at least 5 launchers so that when we went and did this grenade golf for CNN, and I knew Schaefer had one, it had this little spider looking thing on it. But, affirmative. But that's the first time I'd really seen one. Okay, more questions on the security detail, Mr. Barney. If federal agents had shown up, jumped out of a car and said, "We're federal agents," and drew weapons, you would have shot them? Absolutely not. In fact, according to this, Gary, it says draw down. That's what it says. Well, even Gary Brockman's understanding was that he would have to put his rifle down. Affirmative, that's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said. And you, in your testimony here today, you would have put your rifle down? Absolutely. So they would not. So if they just jumped out and didn't identify themselves because they didn't have time or whatever, you would have shot? Absolutely not. I think the whiteboard makes that plainly clear. You ever hear of the adage, any plan doesn't survive first contact with the opposition, Mr. Barney? I haven't. You might want to look it up. So you're wearing body armor. Oh, you're real swift, Scrocky. You a military planner? Is that what you are, Scrocky? You're gonna show up the militiaman, the dangerous militiaman in the witness chair. You're gonna give him some military advice, Scrocky? Is that what you're doing? You're real good with words, ain't you, Scrocky? So you were wearing body armor at KJNP? Yes. Did you have your sidearms? I did, both of them. I can only imagine. So I wear those 2 sidearms on me all the time. I have a smaller one and a larger one. I carry the smaller one because a lot of times at work the bigger one's too bulky, and when I'm wearing my tool belt and stuff like that, I'll secure the 40 cal and I'll leave the 380 on my side and secure the 40 cal on my truck. I think I just asked you if you were carrying them that night. Oh yeah, I was. Were you aware that Schaefer Cox had plans for a group of people called County Rangers? I had heard him mention on County Rangers once. I had asked him what that was, and he just says in the event of total economic collapse, if we had to rebuild at that time, that's when the County Rangers and stuff like that would come in. But other than one conversation I had with him, I hadn't heard about it and hadn't heard about it after that. Could we offer Exhibit 794-11, please, the bottom right? You see the list in there, Mr. Barney? I do. These are notes out of Mr. Cox's phone. It says, per Ranger budget. There's Coleman and Ken. Do you see that? I do. Scrocky, go to page 12, please. I put a rectangle there. Is that your pant size, Mr. Barney? 32. Yeah. So you're looking for some pants for your Ranger uniform. Is that what that is indicating there? Like I said, Schaefer had talked to me about the County Rangers was as far as the AP, and that's the only conversation I ever had with him. So this is all unknown to you. Yeah, as far as I don't remember. He could have asked for my pant size, but that was so long ago I don't even remember. So there's Lonnie's there too. Do you see that? Yeah. Mr. Cox is there, so we're looking for pant sizes for all these folks for County Rangers. Yes. That's what it looks like. Scrocky, if you can scroll down, please, that's fine. Some more gear for the County Rangers. Do you see that, Mr. Barney? I do see that, yes. There's a taser. You see that? I do. Are you trained on how to use a taser? No. Mr. Cox trained on how to use a taser? I can't answer that. Do you have any information about whether anybody in the militia was trained on how to use a taser? I do not have any information. How about handcuffs? Whether anybody's trained on handcuffs? Yeah, not that I know of. Do you know what thumb cuffs are, Mr. Burney? I don't. I've learned in here what they are. Never heard about them before? No. When you had that discussion with Mr. Cox about county rangers, who was going to do that? Who was going to do the arresting? We really didn't go into it, and he talked about assembly post and what one of their stings was in place to hopefully have some sort of common law system in place and just a skeleton of organization in the event that the government collapsed. There would be some way to bring order to chaos, and he said that when the discussions of county rangers come up, so we're going to have some sort of quasi-county ranger police force. Yes. You mentioned there was going to be a common law court, yes, and I guess with some common law judge, I would assume so. Well, you attended one, and there was a common law judge at court, right? Yes. Any discussion about where these people would be imprisoned if they were arrested? The conversation didn't get that far, no. All right, I'm on page 126. I'm going to take a break on page 126. Okay, picking up with page 126. See if we can make it to... Well, let's just see how far we can make it. The conversation didn't get that far, no. How about appointing them a lawyer? Like I said, the ranger thing was a very short conversation. It was at the end of a conversation of what would happen if in the event everything broke loose. He told me that the history showed that in total collapse, if a society was able to protect businesses, to keep people from robbing and raping and looting, just all these businesses, that there's nobody there to protect, and that if you could protect businesses, an example he gave, if like farmers felt they could go out and grow their crops without somebody coming and stealing it, it would take about 18 months for the economy and the community to get reestablished. Well, what makes you think, Mr. Barney, the Alaska State Troopers and Fairbanks Police and the North Pole Police Department weren't going to be able to handle anything? Did you guys ever talk about that? We were talking about in the event of total collapse that there's nothing. In fact, we did talk about that if there was no government whatsoever, total collapse. Affirmative. Nothing there, and it's just complete lawlessness. And that's why you guys got 40 Hornet's Net grenade, CS grenade launcher cartridges, and all those things. Is that why you had those? I didn't own any of that stuff. I didn't have any of that stuff, so I could speak to that. It was in your trailer, Mr. Barney. You knew that? Yes. There were 40 of those 37 millimeter munitions in your trailer, correct? I believe that was what the investigation showed. I didn't know how much was there before that. I'm just asking you about the number. I don't know. You helped load those in the trailer, right? No, I didn't. They were loaded by Mr. Cox into your trailer? Him? Or yeah, I'm assuming it was him. I helped him at his house. When we went to his house, I helped him haul a piano. I helped Marty box up a bunch of dishware and a lot of their household goods. Then later on, we took out a bunch of tools and stuff out of the house too. Later on, we went to Broadway's shed. On February 21st, there was a bunch of stuff camping in there, some tools, some duffel bags, ammo cans. There was some old guns, and we threw them in. And at some point at my house, Schaefer went through everything, reorganized everything, bubble wrapped everything, boxed up everything, and stuck it in the trailer. So there was a lot of stuff in that trailer, and I had not seen personally myself. I think I just asked you whether you helped him load the trailer. I thought you were asking if I had seen all those canisters. Well, we'll get to that too. But you knew those canisters were in the trailer. You said so before, correct? I assumed they were. And well, we'll get to the trailer, and we'll get to the trailer down the road. Scrocky, can I have Exhibit 203? You see that, Mr. Barney? Yes. Is that your writing? I believe so, yes. Do you recall seeing the flyer that we had in evidence earlier in the case with respect to this? Yes, I do. Do you recall seeing that in that flyer that the Alaska Bar Association and the Alaska State Court System was under criminal investigation? Do you recall that? I do. Criminal investigation. Do you recall those words? Yeah, after reading the flyer, yeah. Is this something you understood, or you're going to tell the jury you don't understand what that's about? Like I said, that was the AP came down. They were organizing a lot of stuff. I was helping them as far as setting up meetings and helping get stuff together. But as far as all the paperwork they were filling with the courts at all, I didn't understand all that, no. So you never asked the question, what do you mean by criminal investigation? I don't believe I ever asked them that question, no, but you participated in this, correct? As far as, well, you've got this here in your home, right? Yes. Did you get the advertisement printed up from Mr. Cox? I didn't. Where did you get this information from? I believe that I'm trying to relate why I wrote that down. I believe that was just a phone call that I got from him, and he was telling me some flyers and that they were going to stick out, and told me what they were and what time the thing was going to be at, and just kind of let everybody I know to show it up to it. So you called people to come attend? Yes, I did. Scrocky, can we have 444, please? So this is what we're talking about, right? That's the flyer that was sent out, yes. And in bold letters here, Mr. Barney, you can read that in bold letters. Read that for us. This corporation and the Alaska Bar Association are under criminal investigation. It doesn't say civil, does it? No, it doesn't. And you didn't bother to ask anybody what that meant. I didn't. Whose number is this down here below, 456-2482? I don't know whose number that is. You don't recognize that as Mr. Cox's phone? I don't. I don't recognize most phone numbers because I got them programmed in my phone. Do you ask anybody about where this says judgments can be overturned and you may be entitled to restitution? I remember them talking about that once again. This goes back to their theory that the judicial and Alaska court system had failed to file their paperwork correctly, and that they thought that they would be able to file paperwork on people's behalf and have things overturned. Like I said, this was something that I didn't have a whole lot of understanding about. You were interested in it though, right? Yeah, I was very curious about it. Affirmative. Just like the Declaration of Political Will, you were. Yeah, curious about that. Oh yeah. You seem like you're pretty excited about. You seem like you're pretty excited about that. It just intrigues me. Like I said, if I can talk about it, the family I knew in Tennessee on my mission. Affirmative. But you understand though. So what you're doing though is you're intrigued about this because it's something you're interested in, and you might decide to do it yourself someday. I was more intrigued about the idea of their if the Alaska judicial system, if they were correct, which it seemed out there, but if they were correct and they filed paperwork and this thing came out in the press and uncovered some kind of scandal going on, yeah, I would be very interested to find that out. You mean like a conspiracy? Yeah. So in December, can we have the lights, please? I guess, please. In December, middle of the month or so, you attend a hearing for Mr. Cox, and Mr. Cox is in front of Judge Quavar. In December, I believe that was December the 10th, right? 2010. Okay, so you attend that, and was that part of a security detail as well? No, what we ended up doing there ultimately is, like I said, we had decided, going back to the board, we decided not to do a security detail at the court at all, not even outside. After I contacted a few people, I had even talked to Sarah and Dave, who was her boyfriend and not her husband at the time. Everybody felt really uncomfortable, even with the idea of just being there with your pistol, so we decided not to do that at all. We decided to do is if anybody wanted to go and just be part of the inside crew, and if Schaefer's got arrested, if they said, well, on his way out, we're going to arrest you because you're challenging jurisdiction, then we were just going to make a thing where, hey, why don't you arrest us too? We'll all go down to the jail and we'll say we're on John Locke, Samuel Adams, and Thomas Jefferson. Mr. Barney, I'm going to have to cut you off, okay? But we did as far as security on that. The only thing that was done is Bill Rensel was asked to take Marty home. Okay, what I want to talk about is, you heard Mr. Cox make the statement in court, yes. To Judge Quavar, yes. Right, and that weighed on your conscience, yes. And you went to another court proceeding for Mr. Cox in December, didn't you? I did, on the 15th, in support of him, correct? Yes, after having this conscientious issue in your head about and speaking to him, you went back and did it again, yes. And you heard him say to Trooper Schoenberg about, we can have you all dead in one night, didn't you? I didn't. I read that in the paper the next day. Okay, so you were aware, you knew about it? Yes, I became aware of it the next day, and that troubled you too, I assume, yes? Yes, it did. In essence, because he's using the militia as threatening the court system, correct? Yeah, he told me. Okay, thank you, but that's what I felt at the time, affirmative, until I talked to him. He didn't mention that Bill Fulton or Aaron Bennett were the ones specifically. He didn't say that to Judge Quavar, did he? He did not. He didn't say it to Trooper Schoenberg either, did he? He did not. He didn't say it to Judge Hammers in court, did he? Okay. To put it inartfully, he got in Judge Hammers' face too, didn't he? I don't remember him getting in Judge Hammers' face. I don't remember him even crossing the bar. He was on the other side of the bar the whole time. He was talking to Tim and to take the papers to Judge Hammers. Okay, so he wouldn't even cross the bar. He was staying on the outside? Yes. You wouldn't call that some sort of protestive type? No, I probably would call it a protestive type. Yeah, okay, so having heard all that, Mr. Barney, and having all that stuff weigh on your mind, you organized a common law court for Mr. Cox? I didn't. Yes? No, I didn't organize it. You participated in organizing and calling jurors for common law courts? Yes, calling jurors. Okay, you called jurors, yes. How many did you call? I just need a number. I don't know. I called quite a few people, though. You showed up, yes. You were a juror, yes. And you were talking about January now, right? So we've advanced the time frame just a little bit. Yeah, this is January. I think in the middle of the end of January. I can't quite recall. Okay, you showed up. Your folks are here, right? They showed up as jurors. Yeah, Lonnie and Karen Vernon were there. They showed up as jurors, yes. And there was a juror information meeting gathering the night before. There wasn't. There was a meeting by the Assembly Post. I don't know that it was much for the jurors, though. You attended that? I caught the last bit of that. I wasn't there the whole time, okay? And at the part you caught, the bit correct you caught, there was a discussion about the verdict, correct? The verdict. The meeting before, affirmative, right. I know, I don't recall that all. All right, you attended the trial, yes, and the trial concerned itself with two things, yes, concerning Schaefer Cox, yes, and one, the DV charges filed against him by the estate, correct? Yes, and you knew he pled guilty to those, correct? Yes, the two weapons misconduct charges that happened to him in March, a couple of weeks after the domestic violence situation, correct? Yes, and that was being set for trial, yeah. As far as it was set for February 14th in 2011 in the Alaska court system. All right, did Mr. Cox present to you or anybody at the common law trial his wife's recorded statements about the underlying domestic violence situation? I didn't. We didn't know there was any recorded statements. He never told you that? No. You never knew about that until his trial here? I don't even know if I knew unless you're saying there is. I still haven't heard that. Well, he didn't offer it up, did he? No. Did he give you any police reports? No. So you just got his version of what happened, right? Marty Cox did call in. She wasn't there present personally, was she? No, she was there over the phone. Affirmative. And she didn't talk about the recorded statement she made to the troopers, did she? She talked about... My question, yes or no, sir, did she talk about the statement she gave to the troopers or not? Yes, she did. In what respect? She said the statement was not entirely correct. Affirmative, but she wasn't there in person, correct? No, she wasn't there in person. And nobody in that Denny's back room read anything produced by the state of Alaska concerning that offense, did they? You know, I can't recall if they did or didn't. It's been a while. Nobody from the state was there? No. And with respect to the misconduct case, Mr. Cox testified, right? Yes. And he also testified about the domestic violence case, correct? He did, and there were other people that testified as well. Certainly Misty Glockery showed up, and she testified, right? Yes. And maybe one other guy, yes. And you all voted to acquit him. Yes, we did. And you acquitted Mr. Cox of conduct he pled guilty to in the state of Alaska court, didn't you? As far as the DV, yes. Yeah, and you acquitted him of conduct he's facing on trial in the state of Alaska court, correct? Yes. And following that, you know that this court and Mr. Cox filed lawsuits against the individuals and apparently affected Mr. Cox. You saw those in court, correct? Yes, I saw those in court, and they were seeking damages of $2 million per count. Yeah, I saw that. You saw that? Yeah. Your testimony here is you don't know about that? No, I didn't find out about that at trial. I found out about that. I believe I got an email, a text from him, like February 11th, saying that he had filed something with the court. And then on February 12th, when he was going over his paperwork, I believe it came up at that point. So you know, under the authority of what you voted on or what participated in, there was a lawsuit going on. I thought that if there's nothing to it, nothing will happen. It's got some legality to it, you know. Let me ask you this, Mr. Barney. Would you feel if somebody dropped a lawsuit on your desk for $32 million? How would you feel with this common law court that nobody's ever heard of before? How would you feel about it? Well, if they have no authority, it probably wouldn't bug me at all. You would have to probably figure it out if they did or not, wouldn't you? Yeah. Well, what if they leaned up your house with it? If they had authority to do that, I mean, if they didn't have any authority to do that, I mean, I guess it wouldn't bug me. If the law provided them to do it, then I guess it would be something to it. You haven't heard of sovereign citizens just leaning up people's houses for millions of dollars because the clerk's offices takes their pleadings? I haven't. You might want to look into that. Okay. Objection, duly. The court sustained. Disregard the comment, Scrocky. By the way, I guess with the common law filing against these employees of the state of Alaska, you were just going to wait it out and see what happened? Like I said, I didn't know a whole lot about it. If it was real, if they could do that stuff, I thought I'd be pretty interested to find out. But at the same time, if this thing's got no weight, it doesn't mean nothing either. Let's go to February 12th. There was a 3-hour discussion. Yeah, approximately about 3 hours. During that 3 hours, you testified Gerald Olson brought up the concept of 241 on a number of occasions. Yes? Yes? Yes. Okay, Mr. Cox brought up and asked you what you thought about 241. Yes? During the course of that 3-hour meeting, yes? He asked Mr. Olson what he thought about it. Yes? He asked Mr. Thessing what he thought about it. Yes? And the people were talking about it, weren't they? Yes? Okay, and in the course of the conversation, right? Yes? When you got to Mr. Thessing's bus, you put on your phone under your seat in the bus, didn't you? I think my phone was in my car. I don't think I ever brought it in. Okay, you left it out in the car for a reason, right? Yeah. Because you guys thought the government was listening to your cell phones, right? It had become for G since Schaefer originally brought up this assassin team. It had become pretty commonplace that whenever we were with him, we didn't bring in our phones. Oh, you'd leave them out on the car? Yes, kind of thing. So in this conversation where people are talking back and forth, right, about this concept, yes, and you've heard the audio of the conversation, yes, Mr. Barney, it starts out that Mr. Cox asking about 141, doesn't it? And it says that the Israel Defense Force strategy, right, yeah. Then it gets up to 241 by Mr. Cox's suggestion, right, yes. And Mr. Olson says, how about a 541, doesn't he? Yes. Okay, Mr. Cox takes it back to 241, doesn't he? Yes. Mr. Cox was the one in the conversation who brought up the phrase and the matter of 241, didn't he? He did. That was his statement. That was his initiation of that conversation, yes. There was about an hour and a half of where he was talking about his paperwork before the conversation ever came up, right? He was explaining to you and actually read to you, did he not, some of the pleadings that the common law court had filed? Yeah, he went over a ton of stuff, and he, with us, read it, didn't he? You read it to you guys. It's just what I'm trying to say. I don't know if he read all of it. I believe he read most of it to us, yes. But with respect to your position on this 241 conversation, Mr. Barney, you testified to this jury that you had said you were not for it. Is that accurate? Yes. Is it also not true, Mr. Barney, that in the 241 conversation, you stated that the militia was not strong enough at that point in time to sustain a 241 operation? That was one of the reasons I brought it up, yes, Mr. Barney. Did you ever tell Mr. Cox, anybody else on the bus, words to the effect, why are we talking about this? We're the family militia. Did you ever say something like that? I didn't say those words. Can I, Will? Did you ever tell anybody we should not ever talk about this again after the meeting? I'm talking about the bus conversation, Mr. Barney. we thought Schaefer was going to be gone after the meeting. He said you'll probably never see me again. I asked you in the bus conversation, did you ever say we're not going to talk about this again? No. Did you ever convey to him that you had a conscientious or moral objection to the killing of human beings? In that one, I'm trying to think between the one on the 19th and that one. I believe I said that people won't see us as martyrs. I know on the 19th I said I'm worried that I don't want to do something I'm not going to lose. I don't want to do something that I'm going to lose my soul, and I don't know how this would accomplish anything in God's plan. And I mentioned multiple times that people won't see us as martyrs, that the guys in the militia won't even support this, and there's not enough violations by the government to do something like this. Did you not state in that meeting, Mr. Barney, that we need to bluff it, turn it into a bluff, into an action? Did you say that? Hey, you leaving out the word pray? You left out the word pray, I think. Yeah, that was. Did you say that, Mr. Barney? Yeah, can I comment? I guess Tim will bring that up on. You said we could bluff it and turn it in from a bluff into action. That's what you said, correct? Yes, but now I have a follow-up question for you, okay? You were waiting for numbers sufficiently strong enough to turn it into action. No, he said, no, I'm asking you. No, you were waiting for numbers sufficiently strong enough and circumstances strong enough to turn it into action. Yeah, the circumstances, that was a big part of it. Now, over the course, you have to discussion of 241, right? On the 12th and the 19th, okay, yes, yeah, yes. Okay, during those discussions, there was discussions of what happens if Schaefer gets arrested. Yes, correct, yes. There were discussions about what happens if they take our children, yes, and those discussions turned into that would be a 241 event, correct? Yeah, that was at the end of the day on the 19th, affirmative. Okay, so Mr. Cox on the 19th is wanted for a warrant, correct, yes? So he could have been picked up at any time for that misdemeanor warrant, as you guys keep saying, right? Yes, so some trooper could have just pulled over Mr. Cox. Is in the car. Who are you, Schaefer Cox? He's under arrest, right? Yes, and one of the triggering events for a 241 would have been Mr. Cox's arrest. No, that's what you said in the meeting. You just said so. No, you mentioned if people start taking our wives and our children, our family members, or Mr. Cox is arrested. No, and there he said that it's one thing they can mess around with us men. They can do whatever they want with us. We're kind of made for that. But when they come after our wife and children and just start taking our family members, that's something else. You understood at the time that Mr. Cox had issues with OCS. I didn't. No, I thought that had all been resolved. I didn't know he had any issues with OCS. If OCS had taken his child, it would have been a 241 instance, wouldn't it have? No, it wouldn't have. Well, you got to keep in mind we were standing in a room where Gerald Olson kept on saying, what if, for 6-7 hours. And at the end of the day, he's like, it's never going to happen, but I'm just throwing this out there. What if they take your wife and your children? And if you're sitting in a room with a bunch of men who isn't going to say, yeah, well, I'd do whatever I had to protect my family. So this is all Mr. Olson's fault from your perspective. As far as him trying to get us to talk about something so that we would go to jail, yes. And he's doing that at the direction of the FBI. I didn't find out that until Sutherland was on the stand. I thought maybe he was doing that on his own regard. But from what Sutherland said, I guess it was under the direction of Sutherland. You never said in these conversations, "Hey, Olson, quit pushing us," did you? No? Okay. He kept on. All right, let me ask you this, Mr. Barney. On the 19th, if I have that right, Mr. Cox states that he could kill women and children during the course of a 2-for-1 operation. Do you recall him saying that? I don't recall it being put like that. No, I remember Gerald J.R. Olson. I don't have a question in front of you. Okay, right now, Mr. Barney, all right, we're going to see if we can find that. Okay, let's move back to the 12th, and we'll get to that once we dig it out. Okay, do you remember being present in Mr. Thessing's bus when Mr. Cox was talking about grenades? Yes. And what does he say about grenades that you overheard? I believe in that one he said that Bill Fulton wants to come down here on February 14th thing. He can bring all kinds of guys and guns and grenades and stuff. I think I was asking about Mr. Cox. Yeah, that's when the issue of grenades came up, right? But I was asking you what Mr. Cox said, Mr. Barney. Okay, can you do that for me? Yeah, he said, I believe he mentioned something about that we just got the 2-second fuse ones. And that he wanted, okay, I'm going to pause here on page 151. Taking a break on page 151. Okay, picking up with page 151. That we just got the 2-second fuses ones, and that he wanted, it'd be nice to have something better than that 2-second fuses ones. But then he says, but grenades really scare me. You recall him saying, I would like to have 8-second fuses and powder that burns fast enough to really send shrapnel flying because we're using 2-second fuses right now? Yes. You recall him saying that? Yes. And you were present for that conversation? I was. And he said we're using 2-second fuses, didn't he? Yes, I don't know who he was referring to because you don't know who he was referring to in the we? No, well, obviously he's telling us so that we wasn't us that were in the room because we didn't know about what he was. I mean, he was describing to us. So you're telling this jury you know nothing about grenades with 2-second fuses and making paperweight grenades functional. Is that what you're telling them? No, that's the first time I ever heard about that. Was when I was in the bus with him when he made that comment. And did you have any conscientious objection to that? I made the comment to him. The only thing I said to him was I asked if you had any conscientious objection to that. No. Didn't trouble you, did it? I don't, I can't remember. I'm trying to put that, the rest of the conversation was right after that. When was the last time you were at a social gathering with someone talked about grenade fuses and sending shrapnel flying, Mr. Barney? Never. Do you know who Martin Guerrero and Ron Woods are? I don't. Do you recall Mr. Cox and Mr. Thessing's bus saying they should dangle like wind chimes of liberty? Yeah, I do. You didn't say anything about that on the recording, did you? I didn't. I said a lot of other things on the recording, though. But nothing with respect to these two gentlemen. But not with respect to them. But with respect to... Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what. You go ahead. You didn't say anything about these guys dangling like wind chimes of liberty, but you said something about somebody else. As far as, like I said, this is something I felt on the bus. I really felt bad that, here I'm Schaefer's friend and I'm agreeing with Ken that he should just take his family and he should leave and be gone and get out of town. And so I didn't come out and speak my mind. But I did say, here's what I see if we were to play this scenario out, if we were to go do a 2-4-1, I was talking about Martin Guerrero and Mr. Woods, Mr. Barney. Yes, but I just wanted to go into my mindset of where my mindset was during that day. Well, your mindset on the bus at the time wasn't talking or telling Mr. Cox like, why are you hanging these guys, correct? You didn't say that, did you? No, I didn't. Okay, and you're his friend, right? Yes. He's your commander, right? Yes. He's the face of the APM militia, isn't he? Yes. As well as the Liberty Bell Network and the Second Amendment Task Force, right? Yes, and the man is talking about hanging people, and you didn't say anything, did you? Like I said, I made several other comments later on, but not in respect to that one, no. And there's all 4 of you guys on the bus talking about killing people, and you said nothing about stop this conversation, did you? No, I said people would see us as wackos, and that's where it would end. Scrocky, if we could have the transcripts, and if you could pull up 24-16, Mr. Scrocky, do you mind if I... Absolutely. If we could go to 24-16... Let me remind you folks that the evidence is the recording, not the transcript. The transcript is only to assist you in understanding the recording. Question, are you there, Mr. Barney? Yes. Mr. Scrocky, if we could play 2416, audio played. So no reaction to you from putting people's heads in boxes, correct? This is after 7 at the end of a 7-hour day. Okay, but there's no reaction from you there, right? Because of what led up this 7-hour day. What if the government's just coming and taking us all and one or two at a time or one or two at a time? Eventually, at the end of the day, it's like, what if we're taking our women and children, our families? So no reaction from you, right? No. If I could have you turn to Scrocky, I'm trying to get myself judged. 114, Your Honor. Do you see? You're not there, Mr. Barney. I'm there now. That's the conversation from the bus, Kim Thessing's bus, yes. Do you see your statements in there as well? Yes. And is this the place where you make the statements about putting stickers on the back of police cars' windows? After this and leading up to this was the conversation about Egypt and the food and the economy. Do you recall the question I asked you, Mr. Barney? Barney, yes. What was my question? Objection, Your Honor. He's putting the court sustained. Scrocky. Mr. Barney, my question was, is this conversation where you put the sticker, you're suggesting putting stickers on the back of police cars' windows, yes? And tell the jury what you said with respect to that. And that another thing that you do, there's those little target bullseye things, and you can put them in the back of cops' car windows. I'm sorry, the back of those windows, cop cars. So they would know they were being targeted, correct? Yeah. But the prelude to this conversation is talking in reference of like what was going on in Egypt. If the government is just, there's economic type of chaos and the government is going and just beating up people and killing people for being out of the street picketing. And your response is to put stickers in the back of the windows, police cars. That's what, yeah, that's what you said, right? Yeah. That's in response to just bluffing to keep the cops if they were to throw in and start doing those things. And like I said, it was a stupid comment. Mr. Barney, Mr. Cox moved into your house on what day? February 19th, 2011, okay. Scrocky, could we have Exhibit 475, please? These are both admitted. Do you recall seeing that item earlier, Mr. Barney, that photograph? Yeah, Scrocky. And if we can go to 476, Scrocky, if we can have the lights, Denali, that's 475. Do you see that, Mr. Vernon? That is not the same picture you showed me. Oh, it should be an enlargement of 476. Okay, yes. Those were found in the pantry, correct? In the storage room, yes. Your storage room, yes. And you see there's some grenade pieces there, yes. There's a spoon and a pin that's been pulled, yes. And there's another one there too, right? Those were in your home, yes. When it was searched by the agents, the storage area still had a bunch of stuff that was not ours and was not going to be moved out the day of the Cox's move. So these belong to Shaver Cox? They don't belong to me. Okay, not your stuff, not my stuff. Scrocky, could we have 167? Can you identify the room in 167 and the vest, Mr. Barney? Yes, that's my living room. And who does this vest belong to? As far as I know, that's Shaver Cox's. What do these appear to be that I circled? Those appear to be magazines. Was this something that Mr. Cox was wearing when he came to your home on the 19th? No, he wasn't wearing it. He brought it with him. I'm not answering that. I don't have time for that right now.
Who is it?
I think it's Danny.
Oh, is it Danny?
You want to get it? No, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Danny. I'm in the middle of something and my wife's fixing to leave. It's not that I don't want to pick up because he's a good guy, but I'm in the middle of this. Was this something Mr. Cox was wearing when he came to your home on the 19th? No, he wasn't wearing it. He brought it with him. Yep, yeah. Scrocky, can we have the last finale? You testified that you thought Mr. Cox would leave the state on the 12th of February or around that time. Yes, you offered him one of your cabins to stay in, didn't you? Yeah, he said, well, you did, right? Yes, thereafter on the 14th of February, 2 days later, you went to state court for him, didn't you? I went to show up just to see what happened, if that would post a warrant. So you went to state court, yes, and you went to see what was up with this case, yes, and you were going to communicate that to him, weren't you? Though I was going to post it on Facebook, and you did that, didn't you? Yes, I did, and you took some notes about what was up with Mr. Cox's case, yes, and 5 days later on the 19th, maybe even 7 days later on the 9th, no, 5 days later on the 19th, he shows up at your house, yes. Okay, so he hadn't left the state, had he? No, he hadn't. And he stayed in the state up until March the 10th, yes, at your home, yes. Okay, he had a warrant, yes, because you knew that he didn't appear. There was a warrant issued for him, right? Yes, I did. So you brought him into your home, yes. So that was the 14th? No, that was the 19th. The 19th, yes. Excuse me, so on the 21st, you and Mr. Cox and Mr. Olson go to the Bradway Road location, right? Yeah, he wasn't with us. He called us when we were almost there. He wanted to know where we were at, and then at the point met up with us over there. And that was my next question. But okay, so you guys end up at the cache together. Yes, and Mr. Hey, babe, would you mind taking the smoothie out of the freezer so it starts melting? Thank you. Okay, so you guys end up at the cache together, yes? And Mr. Cox goes and talks to a woman there on property, right? Yes, named Jamie. Yes, do you know that Jamie's last name is? I've heard it since I've been in here, but Schultenberg. That sounds right. Okay, she was on a video deposition, yes, that we played. Did she look familiar to you from that visit? That was so long ago. I'm sure you know I didn't remember what she looked like when she came up to the vehicle. She just came up and said hi to Schaefer, and Schaefer said he'd be right back in to talk with her. Okay, so while you guys were unloading the storage shed, Mr. Cox was talking to Jamie, yes? You had been to that storage shed before? Yes, I had. She knew where the key was? Yes. Okay, and you knew the items to collect out of the shed? He just said to take everything. Okay, so you did that? Yes. That would include a .30 caliber Browning, right? Yes, and that was in the big heavy canvas bag, yeah. And you took ammunition, yes. Ammunition cans, yes. You took guns, yes. And you took the white container of grenade dummies. No, that wasn't in there. That was not in there? No. And that ended up in the trailer, did it not? It did. And you knew it was in there? Yes. And you saw it in the trailer before you left the ice park, correct? Yes. And you saw the container of grenade dummies that went? Or the grenade paperweights, whatever you want to call them. The first time? Affirmative. Those were outside underneath the tarp at Schaefer's house. And they ended up in your trailer? Yes. And you testified about Mr. Olson lifting a large amount of items with respect to this. He says he saw 8 grenades. You say he didn't. You testified that you saw him lifting a lot of items when he said, oh my God. Yeah, right. Yes, all right. We don't hear you making any kind of smart comment or any other comment about how much he's lifting, nor do we hear you offering to help, do we? No. All right, so you brought all those items back into the truck, yes. Take them back to your home, yes, and they end up in your trailer, yes. Let me turn your attention to February the 22nd of February, okay? All right. Was there a discussion about cell phones at your home that day? Yes, there was. And this is a conversation about coding cell phones with different colors? Yes, right. Got your red phone, yes. Yellow phone, yes. And it took you guys a long time to do that, didn't it? Yeah, it did. And it probably takes a lot of people a lot of time to do that many phones. How many phones were you guys working on? Let's see, I had 2, Gerald had 2, Schaefer had 2, and there was one for his landscaping partner and one for Norm Olson. Okay, so we had various levels. You had a red phone, right? Yes. And a yellow phone? Yes. Tell the jury what a red phone was for. The red phone was just for, we were making jokes this whole time that the red phone were monogamous and red phones could only call red phones. But red phones were, like I said, red phones could only call red phones. The idea of the phones come up on the 19th when Schaefer was wondering how we was going to get all the affairs in order once he left, how he was going to make. Okay, Mr. Barney, thanks. Thanks. What were the yellow phones for? The yellow phones were the same purpose. They were try to help Schaefer get all his affairs in order. Once he left the state, how to sell stuff. The yellow phones were a less high-risk phone. You could call more numbers with the red phone or the yellow phones. The red phones were just only to call red phones. And this was the conversation that you guys were talking about, the 8 grenades coming out of Wainwright, right? At the beginning, when he showed up, we told him I had heard about the rumor at the store the night before, Mr. Barney, and so we told him about that. And when he showed up to my house, okay, I'll do my best to lead you through it if you let me, okay? So you had a discussion about the grenades that evening, correct? Yes, during that conversation. And you talked to Mr. Barney and Mr. Olson, and we hear your voice saying that you and Mr. Cox out in your car, right? Yes. And you thought it was funny that you were hiding Mr. Cox in your car, and Guy in the store, which is asking about whether you're hanging out with Schaefer Cox, yes. And you thought that was funny, yes. And you come back to your home and you talk about these 8 grenades, yes, correct, affirmative. And the rumor is that the 8 grenades are missing off Wainwright and that Schaefer Cox has him. That's the rumor, yes. And that's where you say, wouldn't it be funny if you're one of those judges or DAs are looking at. Do you recall saying that? Yes, that was a joke too, right? Yes, can I? I just asked if it was a joke, okay. And you're telling me it was funny and it was a joke, right? Yeah. Hey, Scrocky, I don't expect you to have a sense of humor, you sorry jackass. If you like, what do you want to say, Mr. Barney? Oh, I just wanted to put more explanation into that, but you said it was funny and it was a joke, and I'll take that at face value, okay. In that conversation, do you recall Mr. Cox telling Mr. Olson he had a fully automatic Sten machine gun? Were you present for that? I wasn't present for that. I heard it on the audio since though. Okay, but you missed that conversation. Yes, can I have you turn to 2801? Let's turn to that after we take our afternoon break. We'll take about 10 minutes, folks. All rise. The matter's in recess for 10 minutes. The clerk, all rise. His dishonorable, the court, the United States dishonorable court is again in session. Please be seated. Bring the jury in. Scrocky, your dishonorable honor. We need to talk about something outside the presence of the jury. Before they come in, yeah, I'm sorry. Would you tell them, please? Thank you. Mr. Scrocky, everybody here, yeah, there are a couple of folks, and there's a couple of folks in the gallery that are my colleagues are telling me I'm not hearing it, but they tell me they hear it quite clearly, that they're sort of snickering, making offhand comments, or verbalizing with respect to some of the testimony. So we'd ask that the court instruct the gallery to remain silent. The court, well, consider yourselves instructed. I don't know that the people that may be responsible for that are present, but certainly the gallery should maintain poker face and not make any comments or signs or indications that you would agree or disagree with any of the testimony as it comes in. And you know the option is to not be in the courtroom, because you can't hear a dang thing anyway, Judge. Scrocky, thank you, Your Honor. The court, all right, are we ready? Scrocky, yes, sir. I found over the years that I miss a whole lot. I'm a long way from the spectators. The court, okay, Mr. Scrocky, you may continue. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Barney, if I could have you flip to 2801, please. Are you there, sir? Yes, all right. And you're on here discussing silencers with Mr. Olson and Mr. Cox. If you just want to thumb through that quickly. Do you recall the conversation, sir? Yes, I do. Okay, Mr. Scrocky, if you could play 2801, please. The court, what day was this? I'm sorry, Judge. It's February 26, 2011. Audio played. Scrocky, can you stop it? Okay, Mr. Barney, were you stating here that he's the one that's getting them? That would have been Lonnie Vernon, right? Yeah, he mentioned that he knew a dealer in Anchorage and that he could get them, and if he were interested to let him know. All right, so Lonnie Vernon called you and talked to you about that, yes? Okay, and Mr. Vernon says, it's actually me, yes? All right, Mr. Scrocky, if we can go ahead, play the audio. If you could turn back to page 31, Mr. Barney, it might help us a little bit. Okay, Mr. Olson stated he's talking to you about Bill, correct? And you mentioned, is this the guy that works on base? Yes, and so you didn't know which Bill he was referring to? No, I didn't. And then you say, if this is the guy who works on base, I don't trust him either, yes? And you said that, yes? And that's referring to some guy on base, yeah? And then he talked about some guy that's crazy nuts, which I guess that fits Bill too, but yeah, that's where that comes from. Yeah, some crazy guy on the base. Yeah, some guy that he had met down there at the militia conference on February 5th. So you were worried about trusting this person? Yeah, he just said the guy he had mentioned. I can't remember what he said. He had made some wild comment in reference to the militia that he was down there. Okay, so the conversation goes along. If you can maybe flip to 32, you told that Mr. Fulton is a Class 3 dealer. You're told that Mr. Fulton is a Class 3 dealer, yes? And Bill Fulton was a new name to you? No, Bill Fulton wasn't a new name to me. You heard of him before this conversation? Yeah, even at Ken's bus on the 12th? Okay, right. And so he's a Class 3 dealer, but then you're being told that he can make these go under the table and make them disappear, correct? Yes. And you were there for that conversation. I was, and you respond with yeah, correct, and yeah in response to what he's telling me, yes, okay. Scrocky, keep going. Audio played, stop it. So you make a joke about a pun about the silencers? Yes, and then Mr. Olson says we got to keep that on the down low, correct? Correct. You heard him say that, I did. And then he mentions there's a caliber twist, barrel twist, correct? And you say, okay, yes, and you understand what he's talking about, right? As far as I know that the barrels have a twist, and I know that a caliber size is. Silencers themselves, I don't know a whole lot about them, but I understand what twist and caliber is, all right? Scrocky, go ahead, play the audio. Were you present, Mr. Barney, when Mr. Cox was giving his tutorial on how to make silencers? I probably came in and out of the room. I was bidding a job at that time. I wasn't there during the entire time, but I was in and out of the room during that time. But the majority of the time, no. You might have heard parts of it, yes. You mentioned I believe it was Mr. Olson's vehicle, that Mr. Cox's silencer is very quiet, yes. You've seen it and heard it shot before? Yes, I have. He showed that to you? Yes. Did you shoot it? No. And when did you show this, and when did he shoot it for you? It was the day he was repacking. Okay, we made it to page 176. I'm going to take a break. All right, let's continue on page 176 with Barney Coleman's cross-examination by Scrocky. It was the day he was repacking everything and taking everything out of the trailer. I was in my office bidding a job, and he just came in and said, hey, you want to see this? And he opened up my office door and put it on the ground and just shot it into the ground. In your home? No. Opened up the office door to... I got a door that goes outside to my backyard. And this was the 22 silencers we've had here in Exhibit 404, yes? And he shot around? Yeah, and he put it right in the ground? He did. He put it right into the ground. How many rounds did he shoot? Just one. It was pretty quiet? Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a lot quieter than it would have been without it, and it wasn't like, but it wasn't like silent. What did you observe What did you observe him do before that to bring that silencer over to you to show you how it worked? What did he do before? Yeah, I mean, what he was doing was just he brought it into your office to show you. He was in the living room packing everything with bubble wrap and all that stuff. He was packing boxes and stuff when I was in my office. So it was loaded, I guess, by the time he showed it to you, yes. I can't recall if he put the magazine in when he came into my office or not. It could have been, I don't know. Okay, but there's a round in it and he shot a round off? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you said it in the car it was quiet, yes? Alright, and you have two spoken about machine guns, haven't you? I don't recall, I would have recalled us, I don't recall us ever talking about machine guns. I wouldn't be surprised if we had. Okay, did he show you Sten machine gun as well? No. Were you present during the conversation between Mr. Cox and Mr. Olson, the same time frame with respect to the C93 and the trade of the C93, the trigger group for the silenced pistol? I came in during the end part of that conversation. I wasn't there the entire conversation. Okay, but you heard part of it. I'm trying to think of what there was, yeah, but I was in part of the conversation, yes. Okay, so you overheard part of the you overheard the part about Mr. Cox would give Mr. Olson C93 with full auto for the silence group he was going to get. I don't know if I was on the part of the conversation or not, but I know that ultimately that was the trade. Okay, in fact, you placed a call to Mr. Carr's shop at some point, yeah, letting him know that Mr. Barney, Mr. Cox, Mr. Olson were heading to his shop. You made the phone call to Mr. Carr? I did. To let him know that they were coming? Yes. With respect to silencers, again, the same conversation. Do you recall telling Olson about that a silencer would be a dead giveaway if you attached it to your pistol on your hip? Yes. Do you recall saying that? Yeah, we were talking. Do you want me? Sure. Okay. The Second Amendment Task Force has a thing that we would do every so often. It's called Open Carry Day, when we encourage everybody to carry their sidearms so that people in the community would get more used to it. And I just said, yeah, that would be a dead giveaway if you carried that on Open Carry Day. It's sticking to the bottom of your holster, and we just kind of made a joke about it. You recall saying Open Carry Day during that conversation? Yes, I do. Let me take a look, okay? If you can turn to 2805, Mr. Barney. 2805. Play the conversation. If you continue, it says carrying one of those. If you continue, it says carrying one of those on Open Carry Day. Oh, it does? Let me go ahead. Oh, Scrocky tried to get away with a little deception there, but Coleman recorded him. Coleman caught him. That's what you're saying there at the end, where I didn't mean to cut you off, seriously. But at the end, yeah, you added in there. Yeah. Hey, Scrocky, you didn't mean to cut him off. You wouldn't want to stop evidence from getting into trial, would you, Scrocky? Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, seriously. Oh, give me a break. Yeah, and I heard it. If you wanted to play it again, I heard it. Side conversing. I'll just take your word for it, Mr. Barney. That's fine. Okay, March 1st, okay. You were at the Esther cabins, your cabins, yeah. You have a number of cabins there that you have you're working on for rentals, correct? Yeah. So Mr. Cox is with you, yes. And you guys are both working on the cabin, and Mr. Olson shows up. Correct? Correct. You called Mr. Olson, didn't you? No, Mr. Olson calls me. Okay, and you said, hey, we're at the Esther cabins, yes. Okay, he came out and helped you guys a little bit, yeah. And you were present in the cabin where Mr. Cox and Mr. Olson were talking about relative price of grenades? Yeah, I was upstairs. I came in downstairs on the last bit of the conversation. Yeah, I did. Affirmative. And those are under construction cabins, correct? Yeah, they're almost finished. The exterior wasn't finished, but yes. A lot of echoing going on in there. Yes. Okay, we don't hear you coming down. We don't hear you anything at all, do we? I mean, do we? You say that's $800 or whatever it was, correct? The downstairs is fake floor, wood floor. The stairs and the upstairs is all carpet. Affirmative. So your testimony is you only heard the last part of that conversation? Yes. Did you hear the word grenades mentioned, Mr. Barney? I heard the word saying these are legit and talking about black powder and stuff like that, and assumed that that's what they were talking about. So what you had going on in your mind then? So on March the 7th, Mr. Barney, you drove Mr. Cox to meet with Mike Anderson? Yeah. And it was late in the evening, and it took you a while to find Mr. Anderson? No, I don't believe so. Okay, so you went right to where he was, yes, and the purpose of that meeting was to have Mr. Anderson and Mr. Cox meet to talk about the debate, wasn't it? No, it wasn't, and Mr. Cox told you about that on the way to the meeting, didn't he? He did not, and you know Mr. Anderson, he testified here, told Mr. Cox that the database had been destroyed, right? Yeah, I remember him testifying that Schaefer never asked for it. He told Schaefer that what he thought he should do, get out of the sovereign citizen movement, fight this thing in court, save up gold as the economy started to go down, buy a bunch of real estate, And on the way, when we were getting ready to leave, as we were leaving, he said, "Oh, and by the way, the thing, I destroyed it." I recall his testimony too, and he said, "That thing, by the way, I destroy it." Right? That's what he told Mr. Cox. That's what he told him. And you knew they were discussion about the being a database of some type, correct? Yeah, correct. And on the way, before we went out there, I made sure that with Schaefer that we weren't going out there to get anything, and he assured me that we were not. We were just going out and wanted to talk to Mike. Mike was a good friend. We wanted to get his counsel and what he thought he should do. Up to that point, well, let me ask you this. Mr. Cox still asked about it anyway, correct? No, he didn't. You know, through the investigation and that we played here in court, Mr. Cox knew Mr. Anderson had that list. I didn't know what it was other than I asked you what Mr. Cox, we played it in court. Mr. Cox knew there was a list. I don't know what he knew. I knew that there was. Did you have a nickname for Mr. Anderson? Yes, when JR, the first time he called me, let me ask the next question, okay? For you, okay? So the nickname, all right, was Snoop, wasn't it? I thought it was Snitch, but Snoop, Snitch? Yeah. Okay, your recollection is Snitch? That's my recollection of what JR said. What was your nickname for Mr. Anderson? I didn't have a nickname for Mr. Anderson. No, never mentioned one? I mentioned in reference to what JR said, Olson said to me, I'd make a reference to what he said to me, yes, at one point. Okay, oh, so you adopted that nickname? I didn't adopt it, I just, on the 19th. Do you want me to talk about this? I don't want to. I just asking. I don't want to. If you adopted, okay, a nickname and used it yourself, I did use that name. I'm sorry, you did? Yes. Okay, so on March 9th you had a chat with Mr. Olson on the phone, correct? I do. I believe it was the evening of the 9th, yes. Okay, and he's telling you what's going to happen the next day, correct? Right now he's still a member of your militia, yes. You still trust him? At this point, it was not so much a militia type affiliation, it was friends trying to help Schaefer get out of town. Did you tell him that he's a good man? Yeah, he had. Correct. He had done a lot of running around, a lot of errands, and set up the truck driver to get Schaefer and his family out of town. When did you put your body armor on the morning of the 10th? What did I put on it? When did you put on your body armor on the morning of the 10th? Probably I was getting ready to head out the door to the ice park. To the ice park? Yeah, I put it on first thing in the morning underneath my, coat. You can't put it on over your coat and stuff. I just put it on underneath my coat and underneath my car hats. And you carried your guns with you. I always carry my guns with me. But not always the body armor though, right? Not always the body armor, no. Did you get to the ice park? Yes, I did. Did you have Mr. Cox with you? He didn't go to the ice park with me, but on the way to the ice park, yes. Okay, he was in your home, and so he jumps in the trailer and jumps in the truck with you, correct? Yes, all right. And oh, by the way, before that evening, right before, is that you were doing the laser sighting with your guns and Sarah Thompson talked about? I don't think it was that night. I think it might have been the night before, but it could have been. Okay, so her testimony is correct. You guys were doing that, right? Oh, yeah, yes. Okay, so before you leave the house, you put on your body armor to go do your errands for the day, yes, and you go to the ice park. Mr. Cox is with you, and you go and do your thing with the kids, right? Yes, got a couple of kids in tow? Yeah, you're responsible for a few kids, right? Yeah, I had my son and 2 other kids, yes. And you came back to the truck, correct? Yeah, and you leave the trailer there, yeah, yes, yeah. Okay, you leave it there because the roads, you say, are icy and it's difficult to drive. We wanted to find out where the trailer, I had to run a couple of errands first, and we had to go and find out the trailer, the diesel trailer, Han Solo diesel trailer. Affirmative. When you left your house, Mr. Barney, you had $5,000 cash on you? I did, and you had more than that in your home in cash, correct? Yes. Mr. Cox had cash on him in the home as well, correct? I don't know until after the investigation. Okay, and you had over $10,000 in cash in your home, correct? I did. 5 of that you had on you, yes. And your bank account that day had $2,000 and some change in your account. You know that, right? My wife told me on the 9th. You know that, right? Checks had been written for all the money and it was all going out. Okay, but your balance on that morning was still around $2,000, wasn't it? I don't have a clue what it was. My wife just told me the night before that she had written all the bills and that if Adam tried to cash that, it would bounce. Okay, so no details. So you think you're out of cash, you're out of money in the account? All I know is what she told me. She put just enough money in the bank to cover all the checks she had just written. Okay, so you go meet up with Mr. Olson, correct? And you meet up with Fred Meyer parking lot, yes. And the bank is about 25 yards away, yes, approximately, yes. So instead of going into the bank and covering your relative's check, you get in the truck with Olson, don't you? Yeah, he's pulling up just behind me at the same time we pull up, and he says, I'm here. Why don't you jump in my vehicle and let's go over and So you did that instead of going into the bank, right? Yeah, because we're going to come right back. I had to come back, and we're going to go get the trailer and then take the trailer over to wherever this guy was. Affirmative. And then you were in the truck, Mr. Olson tells you, and we'll hear about that in a minute. And he's got some things for you, right? Yes, and we're expecting to see a silencer or a silenced pistol at a minimum, right? Yes, from the Class 3 dealer that does things under the table, correct? That he likes to do them, but he's a Class 3 dealer. My assumption is that he could do it either way. Scrocky, if we could go to Exhibit 38, you were asked a lot of questions or disrespect with respect to the arrest video. Mr. Barney, and only a segment of that was played. I'm going to play the whole thing, and I'm going to ask you some questions if we could go through it. Okay, all right. If we could have the lights, Madam Clerk, so it's 3801. Video played. Mr. Barney, up to this point, Mr. Olson's telling you that he's got some goodie stash, correct? Yes, you don't say anything in response to that, do you? Go ahead, stop it. Video played. So the prior page, I'm on page 5, Barney, and Barney Olson tells you, that you're going to go back to the Anchorage if you take them, correct? That's what he says? Yeah, he's trying to say that from what I understand. Well, okay. What he said was they're going to go back to Anchorage, or he doesn't want them to go back to Anchorage, correct? He doesn't want them, that's what he says, to go back to Anchorage. Yes, all right. Video played, stop it. Go ahead. Okay, stop it. Question. In response to the $50 grenade straight from the Army, you say, that's still cool, correct? Yes, and then... Thank you, Mr. Scrocky, go ahead. Video played. So you were making some jokes there at the end, correct, Mr. Barney? Correct. Okay, now you heard Mr. Cox testify that he thought Mr. Fulton was going to kill him. Okay, now you heard Mr. Cox testify that he thought Mr. Fulton was going to kill him, correct? Correct. And you were in the truck heading to a cell of some type of knowing that there were going to be Army grenades there from Bill Fulton, correct? Correct. Video played. You stated in response, you can go white and quiet. Yes. Is that what you said? Yes, go ahead. Stop it. You say there that Mr. Cox asked you, how about yours? And you state, mine's buried, and there's inaudible after that. Yes, that's in respect to a silencer, Mr. Barney. Mine's buried. I don't think so. I didn't have a silencer on me. Is that in respect to a 22? What do you mean? What did you mean by mine's buried? I could only speculate at this time. That's been so long. I don't even know what I'm even talking about there, but they didn't find a silencer on me at the arrest. It wasn't a silencer that I had on me, that's for sure. All right, Scrocky, keep going, video. Mr. Barney, I want you to pay attention to the screen to the next segment. If you want to read ahead, feel free to do. I want to tell the jury where it says, how are they for devastation? What do you do with your phone? Do you see yourself in the upper left-hand side? Yes, I do. Go ahead, play it, stop it. Okay. Do you have your phone on you at this time, Mr. Barney? Yes, I did. Where did you put it? I didn't see me do anything with it. Okay, I might be off, on my timing. But do you something on with your phone when you got in the car? No, I don't, because I know later I took a call, and you didn't hide your phone anyplace. No, you didn't sit on it. No. Okay, you asked about You asked about how 22s are for devastation, didn't you? I did. And this is right after Mr. Cox states that it takes a long time to die. Yes. Scrocky, go ahead. Video stop. You state there that, well, we could retrofit them to go on those, correct? I do, Scrocky, go ahead, stop it. Yes, that's a pistol you own, Mr. Barney. Yes, it is. So you were asking about retrofitting it to that pistol. Yeah, I was wondering if you could do that, if one silencer could go on another gun, depending on the caliber size. I wasn't sure. Go ahead, play the video. Mr. Olson says that's what he told me. He said they're 10 to 12 months out because the dealer has to lose them. Do you see that there? I do. You heard him saying that? I did. And you say, well, let's get him to order them up. Yes, because the dealer has to lose them. That's what it says there. Do you see what's going on here, folks? J.R. Olson is trying to just anything to get this illegal stuff in the hands of Coleman Barney and Shepard Cox. The dealer has to lose them. The dealer has to get rid of them. Do you want them? Do you want them? I'll just take whatever you give me for them. Insane. It's absolutely insane, the entrapment that's going on, and everything's in this courtroom. Nobody's objecting. Nobody seems to have a sense of government overreach, government entrapment, government deception. And when you say, well, let's get them to order them up, yes, because the dealer has to lose them. That's what it says right there. That's what it says. That's what it says. Okay, video played. Okay, stop. Mr. Barney, which rifle is your 223? Which rifle is my 223? You have a 223, right? Yes, it's the one I'm holding up. It's the one I was holding up here Yeah, it's the one you were holding. This one here, yes. So you were looking for a silencer for this rifle. I was interested if you could get one for it. Yes. Okay, Scrocky, go ahead. Play the video, stop. Okay, so you and Mr. Cox discuss about the element of surprise, don't you? We do. And then you mentioned to Mr. Olson, how do you get in pretty deep? How do you get in pretty deep to get 8 grenades? I do. Scrocky, go ahead, play the video. So that's where you made reference to Mr. Cox's silencer being quiet. Yes, Scrocky, go ahead, play the video. So Mr. Barney, help us out with this piece. In this segment, where there's no audio, Mr. Cox are talking about silencer and grenades, maybe going back to Fulton, correct? And Mr. Cox, you hand a pair of gloves, doesn't he? He does. And he's wearing a pair of gloves, isn't he? All right, Scrocky, go ahead. This is what Schaefer wrote about. There is absolutely audio of that, and Scrocky is being very deceptive. Yeah, go ahead, shift it. Stop. End of video. What are you racking the chamber there, Mr. Barney, or was it not you? I couldn't tell, or the slide. It could have been. Okay, so you're examining the silencer, correct? Yes. And did you see Mr. Olson hand the grenade back to Mr. Cox? I didn't see it. I've been looking down between the transcripts and looking up. Mr. Barney, Agent Sutherland handed you what we've marked as Exhibit 99 and 74. 99 is the Pelican case. Do you see that there, sir? I do. And could you take it out of the box for the jury, please? Okay. Is that... Okay, we're on page 201. I'm going to take a break. But Scrocky is incredibly deceptive. All right, picking up at page 201 on day 20. Is that the silencer pistol that you examined on that day? It is. It has the tape on the barrel, yes. Around the silencer itself, yes. Okay, if you could look at the container that we marked as exhibit, it's one of 74. That round container there, do you see that? I do. Okay, could you take what's in the container out? That item is inert. What does that appear to be, Mr. Barney? A hand grenade? Okay, and that's like the one we're going to see you handling here in this video clip in a moment? Yes. You never expressed on the tape, Mr. Barney, any reservation about holding that item, did you? Hey, Scrocky. Hey, I want somebody to follow you around for 2 years. I want you to have federal agents constantly trying to provoke you to violence. I want you to get married, fall in love if it's even possible. So that'd probably be with another man with you. I want somebody to threaten to take away your kid. You probably would have to adopt a kid. And then I want government agents to stick grenades in your hands. And I want you to, let's record everything that you say, right? And let's record everything you say for 2 years. And let's see how you respond when we try to entrap you for 2 years. Scrocky, you're an evil, reprobate piece of son of Belial. You never expressed on the tape, Mr. Barney, any reservation about holding that item, did you? No, I'd never seen a real grenade before, and I thought it was interesting. And you didn't express on the tape oh, hey, grenades, I'm not into that, did you? Nothing like that? I never told him I wanted to buy grenades. My question to you, Mr. Barney, I understand your position. My question was, you never said anything on the tape about, hey, I'm not interested in this, correct? No, I didn't. You didn't ask to be let out of the car, did you? Did you? No, I didn't. Your commander, Mr. Cox, was interested in grenades, wasn't he? I know that he had talked about it, but I never recalled him saying that he was going to buy any. You were not present for all the conversations between Mr. Olson and Mr. Cox, were you? No, I just remember at the end of the conversation, I'm not talking about any other conversation. I just said, no, I wasn't. And you weren't present? I wasn't present at any other conversations. Well, for all the conversations? Yes. And you hear Mr. Cox, don't you hear Mr. Cox on this tape saying, hey, I'm not interested in the grenades. Get these out of here, do you? No. When you held the grenade in your hand, Mr. Barney, you knew that had come from the United States Army, didn't you? This one right now? Well, let me rephrase it because it was inartfully phrased. When you held that grenade in your hand, you knew that Mr. Olson said it came from the U.S. Army? He probably said that in the conversation, but I didn't remember where he said it came from. I knew it was from Bill Fulton, that's all I knew. He mentioned they were U.S. Army M47s, right? Okay, yeah, you remember that? Yeah, and if you look at the box, there's some writing on the box too, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, there's something you can pick. They're not something you can pick up at Walmart, is it? I would assume not. Okay, all right. Scrocky, go ahead, play the video. Mr. Barney, you've got the grenade in your hand, examining it, right? Yes. In your lap is a silenced 220.22, yes. And somebody's coming up. Yes, Mr. Scrocky, go ahead, play the video, audio. Mr. Barney, what are you doing there? Do you see that? Yeah, I put it on the floor. There are grenades on the floor, right? Yes, you heard it thunk. I put it on the floor. You put it on the floor, yes. The right side of you, correct, probably. You didn't want this person to see what you had in your hand, did you? Well, we're sitting in somebody's parking lot of where there's a bunch of trailers and stuff like that, and I totally understand. But my question was, you didn't want the person to see that you had in your hand purportedly a live hand grenade, right? Yes. That might cause a guy to get kind of nervous, wouldn't it? Yes. You weren't nervous, were you? Was I nervous? You weren't nervous, were you? What do you about holding a grenade? I was checking it out. I never wanted to buy one. I just asked you, You hid it because you didn't want anybody to see it, right? Well, I thought it'd be a very awkward moment if somebody comes up here we are on the truck stop, and he's coming up to talk to us, and you got a grenade in your hand, right? That the government informant put there. It's not like he went out and saw the grenade. He was entrapped. Oh, Scrocky, you're an evil bastard. Yes, in your left hand, what do you have? The silencer, the silenced pistol, right? Affirmative. And you put that underneath your seat, right underneath yourself. You tried to put it down underneath and hide it, correct? I believe I just put it on the floor. Can you rewind a little bit? Play the video. Let's see what you do. Okay, stop. So it's there on your seat, right? Yeah, on the seat right there. And on the side by my leg down, affirmative. The floor right next to your leg, perhaps. Perhaps, yeah. You don't want this guy to see that either, right? I thought it would be a very awkward moment. So either one of those would have produced an awkward moment, wouldn't they? Just a regular XD pistol would have caused an awkward moment. Well, let's take a regular XD pistol with a silencer on it. That would have caused an awkward moment, right? And a hand grenade all by itself would have caused an awkward moment, yes? And you close the lid on the Pelican case at some point, don't you? I do, because there's an outline in there that looks like a gun. Yes, go ahead, play the video. You're messing with a grenade there, Mr. Barney, in your right hand. I don't recall. You can't tell if you were pushing it down or anything like that? No, all right, go ahead, play the video. Mr. Dooley asked you a lot of questions about you not pulling pins on grenades and pulling out the gun and all that. Do you recall those questions? Yes. Do you know this man? I didn't, but Schaefer did. How far away is he from you? He's right up to the window. Yeah, just a couple inches, right? Yeah. And the FBI agents came and stormed the truck, correct? I believe, no, he had stepped away from the vehicle, but he's fairly close. He's probably still in that general area, yes. All right, so you're not going to reach. You're not really thinking a miss, correct? You're not going to reach for anything right now, right? You're not going to reach for a gun right now, correct? Oh, right there, yeah. Well, there's, while the guy's there, affirmative, right, no. Yeah, all right. Scrocky, go ahead, play the video. So this unlucky gentleman pretty much stayed next to the door the whole time, didn't he? From the video you could see, from where it ended, yes, Scrocky, just a moment. Mr. Barney, you were arrested and you had your possession. Mr. Barney, you were arrested and you had in your possession a silenced pistol. He hadn't bought it. The government informant shoved it in his hand and went out the door. The government is like videotaping everything. They put Barney on stand and now they got him in front of a jury. And the evil reprobate reptilian prosecutor says, Mr. Barney, you were arrested and you had in your possession a silenced pistol, correct? There was a silenced pistol in the car. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but this is so freaking sad, man. I hate the government so much. I absolutely hate the government. This is so bad. It's so much entrapment, and these people are so evil. I can't believe like this is even going over as some sort of, just that is, everybody has a straight face on. There was a silenced pistol. It's like they hand him an illegal weapon, and then they arrest him, and then they put him in front of the jury. You were arrested with an illegal weapon. It's like, you put it in my hand. There was a silenced pistol in the car, yes, and you had in your hand up until right before the arrest a hand grenade, yes, and similar items were handed back to Mr. Cox. Yes, and you had been told at least twice by Mr. Olson that these items were going to be under the table. Yes, he did make reference that Bill Fulton was a Class 3 dealer and could sell them as well, but he also could do them under the table. Right, that was on, you were told that in your home? Yes, by Mr. Olson. So the government's bragging about how they can sell them illegal weapons under the table, and they hadn't even bought them. They're just holding them. Olson, who works for Hell's Angel, Olson, who runs drugs for Hell's Angels, is a lifetime liar and con artist, shoves illegal weapons in their hands while the video's running. They don't even agree to buy them, and then they put them on the jury stand and ask them all these stupid questions. Oh, Scrocky, payback's going to be a bitch, Scrocky. You were told under the table or make them disappear in the truck, correct? Yes. On the way from Fred Meyer to the location where you were ultimately arrested, you were told that there were grenades to be sold, yes? So you knew that they were on the table as well, yes? And you handled one nevertheless. You were given one and you held it in your hand. I did. I checked it out. Okay, and you had $5,000 on you. I did. And the purchase price for those pistol silencer was $1,000, wasn't it? That was what he talked about for an XD 40 caliber. So this isn't the one I wanted. It's not what I ordered. And all I know is he said that Bill Fulton didn't want to take them back to Anchorage with him. So I wasn't sure that was the price on that. Okay, nevertheless, he produced what you wanted. The price would have been $1,000. The price would have been $1,000. Okay, you could have, to get a silencer, Mr. Barney, you could have gone to any NFA shop, National Firearms Shop in Fairbanks. There are some there, are there not? I don't know. I never went to any shops looking to buy a silencer. The only time I actually inquired is when a couple of years before that at the university they had a gun show and there was a guy that had some out on the table. That's the only time I ever actually even talked to somebody about silencers. Well, you know they have to be registered, right? Yes, and you know there's a process you have to go through doing that, correct? Yeah, I wasn't sure what the process was, but I knew that there was going to be some kind of process. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could have a gun. You could have gone to a gun store in Fairbanks and maybe talked to a gun store owner about those. Couldn't you have? I didn't know that. Mr. Barney, my question is, you could have gone to a gun store in Fairbanks and asked questions to buy one above the table. Couldn't you have? Yeah, but I wasn't sure that a majority of these gun stores could sell them. Okay, are you familiar with a gun store called ProTech? I am. And did your wife purchase a firearm from there at some point? She did. She did. What did she buy? She bought a 223 AR-15 rifle. She bought that for me for a Valentine's present. Let me see if I got that right one here. No, that's not it. 205, that's not the right one. No, not another one. It's the only one you held up earlier. That's not my rifle. This one here, yes. This was bought at ProTech, yes. Whose rifle is this, as you say? That's Schaefer Cox's. Oh, this is Schaefer's? Yes. Do you know what kind of sight is on this? What kind of sight? I'm sorry. Yeah, what kind of scope? Scope, excuse me, scope. If that's the one I'm thinking of, that's a night vision. A night vision scope, yes. You've been to ProTech yourself, Mr. Barney? I have probably 2-3 times, yeah. They have a website. You're familiar with that? I wasn't. They sell NFA silencers and machine guns out of ProTech, don't they? I didn't know that. You didn't bother to inquire? No, you've been in their shop? Just when I was looking at the rifle, that's the only time I ever been to the shop. It's a couple of times before that, and then Rachel went in and purchased it for me. Okay, you could have on your own canvassed a number of gun stores in Fairbanks to find those who sold NFA or National Firearms Act items like silencers, machine guns. Couldn't you have? When J.R. Gerald Olson brought it up to me, I wasn't looking to purchase a silencer. He brought it up. In fact, it was probably about an hour into the discussion before I told him, well, if you got any extra, I'd probably be interested in one. So get me one too. So it wasn't like I wasn't in the market for looking for one until, well, in the call, Mr. Olson, about getting one for you for your 223, yeah, and another pistol, if I'm correct, a 5.7, right? Yeah, but up to the time he approached me, I wasn't out looking for silencers. Can we have Exhibit 489, please? Do you see that there, Mr. Barney? Yes, I do. Do you recognize this firearm with a silencer attached to the end? I do. How do you recognize it? That's the silencer that I seen at the end at my house and that Schaefer showed to me and the day he fired it. The one he shot off? The one he shot out of? Yeah. And do you recognize these signatures there? And the statement Lex Rex? Yes. What does that belong to? That's Schaefer's signature. And you signed here at the bottom? I did. Do you recognize that over there to the left? I don't recognize the signature, but I could assume it is. But okay, you know that Mr. Vernon signed this document, this picture, yes? I didn't know that he had. Okay, Mr. Anderson signed it. You know that? Yes. You signed it, yes. And Mr. Cox signed it, yes. Scrocky, may I just have a moment to check my notes, Judge? If we can have the lights to Nolly. Just one further, Mr. Barney. When you went to court on the 14th of February for Mr. Cox, yes, Judge McConaughey was the judge who issued that warrant for his arrest, correct? It was. That's the same Judge McConaughey Mr. Cox said was justified in putting 2 bullets in his head, words to that effect. Yeah, but he followed it up with some other statements, I'm sure. Scrocky, thank you. May I, Judge? Your microphone, please. Redirect examination by Mr. Dooley. What statements did he follow it up with? He said, Scrocky calls for hearsay. Well, it's a rule of completeness, Your Honor. I mean, yes, the objection is overruled. Thank you. Mr. Dooley, he said, well, McConaughey and other people that are propagating this stuff, I'd be justified in doing that. I don't want to do that because I'm long-suffering. I want to be everybody's friend. I think I should avoid that. Do everything to avoid that. Okay, do you have any knowledge of what class of a gun dealer, what level of class of a gun dealer is necessary to sell a handgun, a rifle, or a shotgun? I don't. Okay, Bill Fulton may have wanted something under the table. What did you want? I wanted a legal silencer. I don't have any criminal history. I don't have any criminal record. Nothing in my house that I own or found of mine was illegal. I have no need for Scrocky. Objection to narrative. Answer Dooley. Well, No, the objection is overruled duly. You had no need for what? I had no need for an illegal silencer if I could purchase one above board. Mr. Olson stated that it had been 10 to 12 months out before you could get one from Bill Fulton. Yes, and you've heard ATF agents testify it could be 8 to 12 months, yeah, to get approval. I heard them testify to that, yes. Either way, you'd be waiting for a long time, yeah. From what they said, I'd be waiting anyways. This unlucky man, the property owner who approached the window, eventually law enforcement officers are yelling at everybody, yes. And what were they yelling? They were yelling, put your arms up. One of them was yelling, get on the ground, and I believe that was to this man and also to Gerald Olson, who were outside the vehicle. Did the unlucky man get on the ground? Yes. Gerald Olson, yes. You had stated on cross a regular XD pistol would have caused an awkward moment. What is an XD? An XD is just, I believe, a model of Springfield 40 caliber handgun. And by regular, what do you mean? Just meaning that it would be an awkward moment with any kind of firearm. It doesn't have to be a grenade or anything else. If I just had a regular kind of firearm, here we're in a trucker lot. Here's somebody, and I don't know who is coming up to the window. It just would be an awkward moment regardless. Something was said. You said that's still cool. Why did you say that? Right before he talked about, he said, we got these pistols. They're sexy, but he doesn't want to take them back with him. And then he's got these grenades. And I was still thinking about the silencers, and I said 22 silencers, and I'm thinking, well, we'll check them out. That's still cool. And in fact, right after that, we started talking about silencers again. There's no mention about grenades after that. Had you ever wanted hand grenades? No. Grenade bodies? No. Fuses? No. There was some talk about ester cabins, the sound echoing or not echoing. Mr. Dooley, could you push the button up for whatever I think I'm defendant? Thank you, Sean. I'm showing Exhibit CBAHH. Do you recognize that? I do. That's the staircase at Ester Cabins. All right. Was that the condition it was in March 1st? It was. In fact, the picture was taken that day. All right. I entered a move-in center and enter CBHH. No objection. Okay. No objection. No objection. Now I got to CBHH may be admitted. Mr. Dooley, can we have the lights, please? Mr. Dooley. Now you mentioned carpeting. Was this carpeting there while Gerald Olson and Schaefer Cox was there? Yes. And upstairs, what did you have? Upstairs is all carpeted. All right, Mr. Dooley, and can we shut that off? Thank you. Okay, on February 19th, what was your reaction when you saw Schaefer Cox at your door? I was really surprised to see that he was still in town. Why? I thought he was gone. I had already told my wife when I had come home from the event on the 12th that I just got done with a meeting at Ken's. Sorry I stayed so late, but I felt I needed to stay there because of what was being talked about, but it's been avoided. It's all over with, and Schaefer's leaving town, and so everything will be back to, we're just going to go back to normal. The militia will probably be done with at this point, and we'll just go back to just our regular lives. The storage shed at Bradway, well, one of you talked about a 30 caliber Browning semi-automatic gun, correct? Yes. That had a crank on it? Yeah, I don't believe the crank was on it at the time. And a tripod, yes. To your knowledge, was that automatic or semi-automatic? As far as I knew, it was semi-automatic, and since then I found out it is a semi-automatic. Did you ever see a container of hand grenades at the Bradway shed? To my knowledge, not to my knowledge. There's nothing found in the investigation either. Scrocky, moved to strike. Scrocky, the last answer. Yes, disregard the witness' last comment, folks. It's not responsive. Have you ever seen a 50 caliber machine gun personally? No. Did the courthouse security on November 23rd ever happen? No, it didn't. And what did you mean by the phrase Carlson Center event? Oh, there was, I'm trying to think of which one it was. Are you talking about the one I think you're referring to as the one at Assembly Post on December 1st in response to those flyers they put out? They try to get as many people there as possible, or try to explain their view of the sovereign citizen movement, try to show paperwork that they thought was the reason that Alaska court system hadn't filed properly and was not the actual judiciary. Were you at the Carlson Center event? I did show up at it and set up, and there were several people there, with several booths. There was, I believe, the Oath Keepers and Second Amendment Task Force. The militia set up the booth as well, if anybody was interested to sign up. So I was there. So in that respect, okay, how many people do you estimate were there? There were a couple hundred, maybe 300 people. At KJMP, Schaefer Cox gave an interview on the TV news. When did you first hear the interview with Schaefer Cox at KJMP in jail? Okay, when did you learn what items of Schaefer Cox were in your trailer? When I was in jail. Now I knew some things, but the majority of stuff I didn't know. How about the things that are at issue in this case? I knew that the grenade shells were in there. When I opened my trailer to secure everything, make sure everything was going to ride okay. On the way to North Pole, I seen that bucket just with the dummy shells in there, and other than that, I can assume that I knew some of the other household goods, and I helped Marty pack out of the house into the trailer. Were in there. The KitchenAid, the KitchenAid, a piano. I helped her pack up and wrap a bunch of dishes and newspapers, stuff like that. You were asked about these bird bangers, clear plastic things. that were in your house? Oh, yes. Whose were they? Those were Schaefer's. Did you have any kind of gunpowder in your house? No. Any kind of gunpowder? No. Just the stuff in your bullets, I guess. Yeah. Just what was? Now, you were asked about whether you told the judge about these clear plastic devices at the bail hearing, correct? Yes. I'm going to approach the witness, if I may. I have given Mr. Barney a copy of bail review transcript. I asked you earlier to examine that and find any reference to conceivable to these clear plastic things or bird bangers. Yes. And what did you find? All I find is there's a reference to that. There was a box that could make, asked by Mr. Scrocky, there was a box in your home that you can make grenades with them. And I said, no, not grenades. He goes, well, make other things. And I said, well, you can make, yes, something with them. Okay, and that's the only reference? And you were going to plan to make with them? Well, we were going to use them for, originally we got them to do the golf thing, the fall of 2010, because Rob Carr couldn't find anything that would puff red smoke without burning the grass. So we decided just to shoot some markers out of them. Earlier you were asked about protesters in Egypt, pro-democracy. I think something got mixed up. Who were you rooting for concerning the demonstrations in Egypt? I was rooting for the people. When did you first learn there was a 3,500 member militia being claimed for Schaefer Cox? When I was out in training at Phil Clark's, January 2010. How soon did you learn that was not true? When he called me up and asked me to help get enough people together to put it together a story for CNN. Did you consider yourself a private army for Schaefer Cox? No, like I said, even at these, trying to get people to court, half the people there weren't even part of the militia. There wasn't enough people to even, so I just calling everybody and anybody just to get them to show up. Mr. Dooley, Mr. Robinson, we could have a 410-04. Could you highlight the witnesses down there, Mr. Robinson? What was your role as a signature on this document? Just to witness Schaefer signing it? By signing this, did you agree to the purposes of the document? You got to be kidding me. All right, it's Sean. All right, hold on. Okay, I'm going to stop on page 226. 226. I have a prepaid. All right, let's pick up with page 226. Probably make it to the end of the document here. Mr. Dooley, Mr. Robinson, could we have 410-04? Could you highlight the witnesses down there, Mr. Robinson? What was your role as a signature on this document, just to witness Schaefer signing it? By signing this, did you agree with the purposes of the document? No. Mr. Dooley, if I may have a moment, I guess we have 3 more minutes. I'll check my... When do you wear body armor? Like I said, when I first purchased it, I got it because Aaron Bennett was having a sale down there at the store. I got it. I wore it once or twice. It was very uncomfortable, sweaty, and I didn't wear it on a regular basis. The only time after that I wore it is when I was when the Coxes came to my house whenever I'd leave with him. And why did you wear it with him? Because things that were said at my house on February 19th, I was worried if we saw Aaron Bennett, and I didn't know Aaron Bennett other than what was said, that if I was Schaefer with Schaefer Cox when we saw Aaron Bennett, there could be a violent incident, and I was going to be standing there with Schaefer, so I wanted to have body armor on if that happened. You were asked whether you went to see Trooper Burke Brack, yes, and you were aware of whether or not anybody affiliated with you went to see him. Somebody did make contact with him, talk to him in the store about setting up a meeting with him, yes, and I tried to set up a meeting as well through my brother Sam, who knew him. And you're aware of whether or not you're required to have law enforcement training to defend yourself or to defend others? You absolutely do not, Mr. Dooley, and that concludes my question in the dishonorable court. It's quitting time. It's the end of another day, so continue to follow my instructions about recesses. Don't discuss the case with each other or anyone else. Don't let anyone talk to you about it. Don't read, view, or listen or to any news accounts. Don't do any independent research or study on your own about any of the matters you've heard in court. I wonder why I would say something like that. And keep your minds open on all issues. Leave your materials and come back tomorrow between 8:30, ready to go to work. I got a couple of matters to discuss. Counsel, side conversing. The jury's out at 5:01. The court. Okay, you can step down, Mr. Barney, please. We're getting close to Mr. Vernon's turn. Miss Hayden, do you anticipate calling Mr. Vernon to testify? I do not, Your Honor. The court. Okay, Mr. Vernon, you heard me discuss your right to testify and your right to remain silent. Have you discussed that issue with your lawyers? The defendant Vernon. Yes, I have. And you're satisfied with? The clerk, microphone, please. The court. Those issues? The defendant Vernon. Yes, I will be. The court. You say you will be? The defendant Vernon. Yeah. You're going to talk to them further about it? The defendant Vernon. We've talked about it. Yes. The court. Have you made a decision in that regard at this point? My decision is not to take a stand, all right? You understand you're giving up your right to testify and making that decision? Yes, I do. And counsel, you're satisfied that Mr. Vernon understands his rights in regard to that his decision is appropriate if he chooses to make that decision? Yes, Your Honor. Okay, all right, that's fine, Mr. Vernon. I'll accept that waiver. If you change your mind, you can advise counsel tomorrow. The defendant, Vernon, thank you. The court, the clerk brought it to my attention today. Somebody brought it to my attention today, something that's been in the back of my mind about the exhibits during jury deliberations. We've got a lot of exhibits and just how to manage those during deliberations. We need to discuss and hopefully agree on. We can have some of the exhibits in the courtroom rather than the jury room and have the jury come out if they want to look at the exhibits like the firearms or big exhibits. And I assume, however, that there would have to be any such exhibits would have to be removed from the courtroom at night when there's nobody here because the courtroom is not secure at night. That's one option. Then there's the other security concerns regarding ammunition and guns and so forth. We don't need to decide that now, but I wanted you all to be thinking about that because we'll have to decide how to handle that before deliberations. And I've got a lot of work on instructions and a lot more to do, and I wanted to ask the government. I did not go through the listings of overt acts in regards to the conspiracy counts that you proposed as exhibits. Are those verbatim from the indictment? Ms. Lamoureux, yes, Your Honor. Okay. With the exception, we submitted the revised overt acts pardon. Ms. Lamoureux, we submitted revised instructions regarding the overt acts for each conspiracy, and so they're verbatim. We've included them, but if we took them out, then obviously they're not there. The court, all right. You didn't editorialize, Ms. Lamoureux, that's correct. The court, all right. The last thing I want to do to discuss exhibits, instructions with you more at some point. The last thing I want to know tonight is timing. Any further questions from anybody for Mr. Barney? Dooley, I will not have any. The court, you have Traverso, I have just a little bit. Okay, Ms. Hayden, I do not. And you indicated half an hour, 40 minutes or something. You estimated, Ms. Hayden, half an hour. And what's your best guess? We have three, about 20 minutes apiece. The court's Crocky. Mr. Dooley, are you done? Do you have any more? Mr. Dooley, I'm done. Okay, well, I'm going to send the jury home when we finish the evidence because we're going to be a long way from getting the instructions settled. And it sounds like we'll be through tomorrow morning, and we'll need afternoon to do at least maybe more. So fine. What was the address to which we should send the jury instructions? Brian orders at little a with a circle. Yeah, wd.uscourts.gov. Okay, I'm repeating what my assistant told me, and I assume that's correct. She says it is. Okay, anything else? Yes, Your Honor, I would like to renew my motion to sever based on the testimony of Mr. Barney and Cross inconsistent with my theory. The court, I haven't heard justification for severance yet, so the motion is denied at this time. All right, I guess you know I've been doing jury instructions for many years, and I have been involved in drafting pattern instructions for the state for in excess of 10 years on that committee. And I was also on the Ninth Circuit Pattern Committee, including being chair on that committee. I'm a little more tuned to jury instructions perhaps than some others, but I can tell that there's a lot of work I have yet to do to get these put together, and I'll do that the best I can. But there's a lot of things I have to do yet. Some things I want to hear from counsel before we finalize the course. I guess that's a way of telling you that I think half a day just for that purpose. After we finish the evidence, it's optimistic on my part. Okay, see you in the morning. All rise. This matter is in recess until tomorrow at 8:30. This dishonorable court, show trial run by a bunch of reprobates and senile and deaf judges and evil reprobate prosecutors, is adjourned, subject to call. Proceedings concluded at 5:09 p.m.